It's 1 o'clock with your BBC News. I'm Harry Roy. The Cabinet Minister Lisa Nandy's told the BBC that the government's position on Greenland is non-negotiable. She was speaking after President Trump threatened 8 European countries, including the UK, with additional 10% import tariffs on top of existing levies unless a deal is reached for the US to buy the Arctic territory. The European Union is to hold an emergency meeting in Brussels this afternoon. Speaking on Sunday with Laura Koonsberg earlier, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, criticised the President's approach.
I think what the President is most concerned about is the risk of particularly China, but also Russia, gaining an extra presence in and around Greenland, in the same way that he's concerned about the risk of China in Venezuela. He's correct on that, but the approach in terms of the way that you work with your closest allies, all of your NATO allies, is clearly completely wrong.
In other news this afternoon, a man in South Shields has been arrested after a police officer suffered facial injuries while on duty. The officer, along with his Northumbria police colleague, was in King Street at lunchtime yesterday when they spotted a person of interest and approached him. The force say one officer was assaulted with a knife, causing minor cuts to his face. A 25-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of attempted grievous bodily harm and remains in custody. A boy has been attacked by a shark in Sydney Harbour. The child, who's thought to be around 13, suffered serious leg injuries and is in a critical condition in hospital. He was swimming at Shark Beach, which was evacuated and closed. A transport users group in our region has called the rise in some local bus fares as unwelcome. Adult single fares on Arriva North East in Tynemere and Northumberland services have gone up by 10 pence. The North East Public Transport Users Group says it hopes proposed plans to take the region's buses under public control would protect people from increasing fares. Arriva, meanwhile, say they've not taken the decision lightly, that it was determined to keep services as affordable as they can. To sport, we'll be off to Molineux very shortly, where we'll join up with Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson. But before then, let's talk Sunderland. Their boss Regis Labrie says his team once again rose to the occasion yesterday as they recovered from a goal down to beat Crystal Palace 2-1 at the Stadium of Light. Brian Broby scored a second-half winner as the Black Cats ended a 5-match winners run in the Premier League in the process.
I think we faced another strong side in this league with good players, well organised. They started a bit quicker than us, probably, and created 2 or 3 chances, and this league is relentless. They scored, but the equaliser came early, and I think our second half was really good.
One game as well being played in the Premier League this afternoon. Aston Villa hosting Everton. That one kicks off after Newcastle's match at 4:30. To tennis, Britain's Cameron Norrie and Arthur Ferrier both through to the second round of the Australian Open in Melbourne. Norrie, who is a Newcastle fan, beat France's Benjamin Bonzai, while Ferry, who's a qualifier, caused a major shock when he knocked out the 20th seed Flavio Cobolli in straight sets.
Of course, nervous beforehand. But at the same time, I came through qualies. I'm playing a guy who's way higher ranked than me, so I feel like I have nothing to lose. And felt like I held my nerve really well in the third set as well. It's easy to kind of hold back a little bit when you know you're very close to the finishing line. But yeah, I felt like I did a really good job to just get through it without any real nerves.
And it wasn't to be down under for 45-year-old Venus Williams, who was looking for her first major win in almost 5 years. She was knocked out by Olga Danilovic. And the co-chair of Sunderland Interfaith Forum hopes their work will help create a greater sense of unity in the city. Today is World Religion Day, and Saf Iqbal from the organisation says these events are a reminder that faith communities share more common values than differences.
The interfaith work's not about converting people or not about showing one religion as superior to any other. It's more about finding common bonds and sharing humanity, peace, really.
The weather for the northeast cloudy this afternoon with outbreaks of rain, highs out there of 7 degrees Celsius. That is your latest BBC Radio Newcastle news.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Semenyo to Shirky, little flick to Aït-Nouri, who's in the penalty area, pulls it back, it's 2-0. Oh, that's a killer blow. In the 99th minute, Manchester City through Ryan Shirky have a second goal. And Newcastle, who had tried to find an equaliser, now have to go into a second leg at the Etihad Stadium, where they've only ever won once, to overturn a 2-goal deficit to try and get back to Wembley.
A second City goal that may well be decisive, but they'll put the semi-final to one side for now and focus on other football. The Champions League returns in a few days, and this afternoon there's the chance to record a 4th straight Premier League success.
It's nice to come back to the Premier League in a positive frame of mind. I think we haven't always had that this season, so I think that's a really good thing for us. We know that the Premier League is such an important competition for us. It's where your consistency and your true strength, I think, shows. You can look at the league table in any moment and sort of give an indicator of how well you're doing. We want to stay in the upper parts of the league. The big challenge for us now is to continue that consistency we built up in the last few games, because you can look over your shoulder and see a group of teams below us. We can't allow our standards to drop at any moment. So there's a lot of games to come in a short period of time, as we know. Some big competitions ahead, but this is going to be a key game.
And it's bottom of the table Wolves at Molineux, a side that, despite their position, are on a good run of form themselves. 4 unbeaten that come up against Eddie Howe's Newcastle United today, and an 11 for the Magpies that show 4 changes from the midweek cup match against City. In come from the start Trippier, Tonali, Barnes and Voltemada, who all appeared as substitutes in midweek, and they replace Wissa, Ramsey, Miley and Jacob Murphy, who is not in the squad today. Newcastle United. Pope in goal, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Barnes, Gordon and Voltemada. That's the 11. And the bench is Ramsdale, Wissa, Elanga, Willock, Alex Murphy, Ramsey, Shahar, Neve and Miley. A very good afternoon from the city of Wolverhampton in the West Midlands. It is grey and grim. The weather, not necessarily the city, here at Molineux, which only has probably a few hundred fans in. Black and gold empty seats and black and gold LED advertising boards around the perimeter of the pitch, with the 2 goalkeeping teams warming up at either end, and a number of mascots, photographers and television camera operators pitch side just next to the tunnel to our left. John Anderson, not the best day in terms of the weather. It also feels a little bit flat around Molineux as well. Maybe that's because of the season Wolves are having, though they have improved, haven't they? Banana skin, this one, with them being bottom and only 1 win, because Newcastle, you would expect them to come here and get 3 points, but Wolves have been improving.
Could be a banana skin if you don't go about it the right way. If you think you're automatically going to come here and win, you could end up with egg in your face. You're right in what they say. The Wolves have picked up a little bit, but it's been a really poor season for them. You doubt very much whether this is going to be a sellout today. Supporters have been staying away because of the way that Wolves season has gone. So we can't worry about them. We can't worry about the position they're in and the way the season's gone for them. We've got to concentrate on ourselves, treat it as if it was one of the top 6, that you've got to go and you've got to perform and you've got to do your job properly, and you just feel that if they do all them things, they'll come out on the right side of the result.
And the 4 changes, Tonali's come back in, so it is his first choice midfield. Barnes was always going to start, especially with no Murphy. I'm interested in the other 2. Voltemada in for Wissa, he's rotating the strikers. Yeah. And Trippier at right back, not long been available again after injury, has come on a couple of times and now brought in from the start. Miley gets a bit of a rest.
Yeah, probably trying to look after and protect young Lewis Miley. He's been asked to play a lot of football. He's been asked to play in different positions. I'm surprised. I thought he would have stuck with the back 4, but he's brought Trippier in. The one thing that Kieran Trippier's got is bags of experience. He's got a boatload of experience. He's a good organiser, good talker. So in the recent games that he's come on in, Trippier, though, you would worry about balls in behind, balls over the top. He was never the quickest, but the little bit of pace he had seems to be ebbing away. And look, that's not a criticism. That's just a fact. It's a little bit like everything. Mother Nature catches up on us all, and he hasn't been playing a great deal of football, and at the age that he's at, these things do catch up on you. But the one thing in his favour is that he's got that experience, he's got that know-how, he knows to be in the right position at the right time. So he'll be alright. It's, as I say, just probably trying to protect young Miley because he's played an awful lot of football.
So 4 changes: Trippier, Tonali, Barnes, Voldemar come in for Wissa, Ramsey, Miley and Jacob Murphy. Wolves manager Rob Edwards, who arrived in mid-November after leaving Middlesbrough, second in the Championship. Bit of a controversial move from the Teessider's perspective. Came back to a club that he played more than 100 times for, with Wolves struggling on bottom of the table where they remain, and it's 15 points to get safe. So even though they managed to beat West Ham a couple of weeks ago, get their first league win, and they've had some draws in there as well away from home in the Premier League, they've still got a huge amount of catching up to do, and it feels like it is beyond them realistically at this stage.
It's a little bit like swimming against the tide, isn't it? You're giving it everything you've got. You're swimming, but you're getting actually nowhere. It's going to be a really, really big ask for Wolves to get out of the predicament that they're in at this moment in time. Being a dreadful start to the season, even though they did pick up the win against West Ham. No pressure on them, I suppose. I think, yes, they will say all the right things and we'll keep going till it's mathematically impossible for us, but I think in the heart of hearts they know that it really is an impossible task to get out of the situation that they're in. And as I say, because of that, there's not a great deal of pressure on them. They can go and they can play with a little bit of freedom.
The Wolves team, 1 change. The Brazilian international Andre comes into midfield in place of John Arias. So Wolves with a back 3. It's a 3-5-2 really. Jose Sá, the goalkeeper, Yerson Mosquera, Santiago Bueno and Ladislav Krejci are the back 3. Krejci by many accounts has been probably one of Wolves' best players this season. On the right hand side, Jackson Chachua and Hugo Bueno on the left. So they've got 2 players called Bueno in the team, Santiago in the centre of defence and Hugo at left wing back, and the middle 3, Andre, João Gomes and 18-year-old Mateus Mane, who was born in Portugal, grew up in England and has made quite an impression, particularly in the last few weeks. He scored in each of his last 2 Premier League games. Could be one for Newcastle to worry about and pay close attention to today. Up front, Hwang Hee-chan and Tolu Arokadare. The Wolves bench, Sam Johnston the keeper, Matt Doherty, David Moller-Wolfer, Jørgen Strand Larsen, John Arias, Emmanuel Agbadou, who's just returned from the Africa Cup of Nations with Ivory Coast, Pedro Lima, Rodrigo Gomez and Fer Lopez. Strand Larsen on the bench. Probably there'll be some who expect that he'll score against Newcastle today if he comes on. Not had the best season in terms of goals, and now being linked with Leeds, who've apparently inquired about him, so could perhaps be on the move. If not now, you would expect in the summer. But you've never been totally convinced by Strand Larsen, have you, Under?
Not the times I've seen him playing against us, no. There was a lot of talk about him. Struggled this season, and it's always, I think it's going to be difficult for whoever's in that Wolves side, especially in the forward areas, because of the way that they're playing, because of all the games that they're losing. It's really difficult for, if the team's not creating chances and especially making chances for centre forwards, it's going to be going to be really, really difficult. But look, I think the money that's been quoted for him, and you know, back then, the money that was being thrown around that when we were interested in him, I just didn't see him worth that sort of money. But you know, you never know. Do I see him coming to us now? No, I don't. But Leeds are supposedly in for him. But I mean, what does it say when you can't get into a Wolves side that's sat bottom of the table? You need goals. You need somebody who can score goals in your side. Yet he can't get in.
BBC Radio Newcastle live at Molineux ahead of a 2 o'clock kickoff for United today. You can also listen to our commentary this afternoon and get the black and white angle on the match and everything that unfolds by going to the BBC Sounds app, free to download from the App Store. So if you don't have it, do get it. You can listen to BBC Radio Newcastle, all of our programmes on there, and our commentary today is available through BBC Sounds at the top of the app. You can select the station to listen to, find BBC Radio Newcastle, and listen to Ando's analysis and commentary from Molineux right there. 2 o'clock kickoff in what is their 5th of 9 matches in the month of January. They've had a good run of home fixtures. This is the away game that is squeezed in between. 6 out of 7 at home, with Wednesday against PSV and Aston Villa at St James's next Sunday. This is the exception. Wolves away. It's a hectic period, a busy run of games in all competitions. Eddie Howe says they've just got to keep going.
I think when you go through the season that we're experiencing, I think you have to have those resilient qualities to dig deep. And I think we've shown that in recent weeks. The Bournemouth game, the Leeds game, where we've had to dig really, really deep to find something to get a result and to keep the machine moving forward. And however we do it, however we find a way to win at this moment, at this stage of the season, that's all important. I was relatively pleased with some of the things we did against Manchester City. I thought it could have, I think I've said this many times, it could have been very different. The big moments went against us, but we can't lose any confidence from that. We've got too many games and too many big competitions to let that affect us.
Well, using the squad and mixing up the team is the way to navigate this. That's what they've been doing. Still with injuries in a defensive area mostly, but now with Jacob Murphy on the sidelines as well. Hamstring problem, not sure how long he'll be unavailable for. A lot of fans, Ando, want them to go into the transfer market and feel that they need to, particularly for another defender, a versatile defender. Eddie Howe says that the length of the injury list will dictate that, also player availability, and it has to fit into Newcastle's longer term transfer strategy. They don't really like to deal in the January market, but I mean, if it gets any worse, they may have to, but it's been quite slow and there's not a lot going on elsewhere, maybe apart from Manchester City. It seems. Yeah,
you take Manchester City out of the equation, everybody else seems to be relatively quiet, but you're right, if this defensive situation gets any worse, they may well have to dip into that transfer market and get somebody in. Not too sure how long Dan Burns going to be. You know, he's back running and one thing and another, so he could be back sooner rather than later. I mean, we know that Cher's out for 3 months. It probably could be till the end of the season, the injury that he's got. Livramento, you're looking at eight weeks, which is a major blow. So Emil Kraft, don't know about. Lascelles, don't know the length of time, and one thing and another. So yeah, if they were to pick up any more injuries in that defensive area, they most definitely would have to look at going into the market. But it's all about bringing the right players in as well, though, Risey. You know, I don't think Eddie Howe will just go and buy a defender for the sake of it. It would have to be somebody that he wants to see at the football club, who he thinks can improve things at the football club. So we'll wait and see on that aspect. But look, all these games bound to take its toll on players. You know, they've got so many games, and it doesn't look like it's it's getting any easier. You know, those games are still coming thick and fast. Champions League games in midweek. You know, you've got FA Cup games coming up. You've got second leg of a League Cup game. You know, so there's plenty of games coming up. I've said this before. I feel sorry for Eddie Howe. I really do, because trying to rotate, trying to manage a squad and pick sides for games must be an absolute nightmare at the minute. You know, he must be looking at everybody's data from the little bits of training that they can do to see how players are getting through games and how they finish games and one thing and another. You know, so not easy for him, but that's the way it is. And
there's been some academy players in the squad, and again today, Leo Shahar, who spent most of his youth in the he's still a young player obviously, but as a young boy in the Wolves academy before coming to Newcastle a couple of years ago. He's a fullback, hasn't made a senior appearance yet. Sean Neve's been on the bench on and off for about a year and hasn't featured in a competitive game, and Alex Murphy is always on the bench and has looked like he's been coming on a few times, but he's only appeared twice this season against Bradford and Fulham in the League Cup as a substitute. Came on in an important game against Fulham and was fine, but Eddie Howe's not using those players. And I think with Murphy, who's clearly the closest to featuring regularly out of those players because he's been around the squad for a long time, it must be quite frustrating. It's incredible the length of time that he's been actually around the squad and been on the bench and everything else. And you know, hark back to the Leeds game when Cher got injured and you thought, this is his opportunity, this is when he comes on and this is when he gets more than 10 minutes or so. But that wasn't the case. He moved young Miley into centre back. You know, so from his point of view, he must be sitting there looking at the situation and thinking, am I ever going to get a chance? You know, and it can be a little bit demoralising, especially for young boys who are finding their way in the game. And even though he's involved, training with the first team day in, day out, being on the bench week in, week out, but knowing you're not going to play any part, you know, you're just there. He doesn't see himself getting any game time at all, and it must be very frustrating for him. And same with young Neve. You know, young Neve's been talked about. He's been on the bench, but yet again he's not getting any game time at all. And you just feel with the amount of games that we've got coming up and still to come next month as well, plenty of games, you hope from their point of view that somewhere along the line they will get a little bit of game time. Today the 11 is Pope, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Barnes, Gordon and Voltamada, and on the bench Ramsdale, Wissa, Ilanga, Willock, Alex Murphy, Ramsey, Shahar, Neve and Miley. 4 changes from the Manchester City match. Jacob Ramsey a bit unfortunate,
think so,
to drop out.
Yeah, I think so. I thought he did well, you know, but we know that on any given day Eddie Howe's best 3 midfielders and his go-to midfield 3 are Joelinton, Bruno and Tonali, you know. So but I think Ramsey can feel a little bit aggrieved, a little bit unlucky. You know, I just think that players they need a run of games, you know. You need a run of games to get up to the not from a fitness point of view, just to get up to the pace of the Premier League and one thing, you know. It's all right being fit. We've said this many a time. Yes, they're all fit, but are they really match fit? You know, and you only get match fit by playing matches, and you need a consistent run of games, and unfortunately he hasn't been able to get that, you know. So yeah, I think he's a little bit unlucky, but as I said, we know that his best 3 and his preferred 3 are the 3 that start the day.
So 4 changes for Newcastle, 1 for Wolves, who have Jose Sarr in goal, Yerson Mosquera, Santiago Bueno and Ladislav Krejci at the back. In midfield, Jackson Chechua, Andre, João Gomez, Mateus Mane and Hugo Bueno, Tolu Arukadare and Hwang Hee-chan up front. And the Wolves change is Andre for John Arias. The matchday announcer at Molineux, as the Wolves players were coming out, asked the supporters to make some noise for Wolverhampton Wanderers. There are just over half an hour to go until kick-off. There must be about 200 people in the stand behind the goal to the left, 2 tiers. It's got some hospitality boxes in the middle. The away section, which is the entire lower part of the Steve Bull stand on the far side, is filling up with Newcastle fans. But I mean, what do you think for Wolves fans? Maybe, I don't know, not even 5,000 home supporters in at this point. And no, it's not a criticism of them. It may be just the reality of their position. But
look, it's you're right in what you say. It's the position that they're in, you know. And Wolves wouldn't be the only side that have gone through this. You know, if you're struggling at the foot of the table and you've only won one league game all season, people aren't going to come. They're going to stay away, you know. On the other hand, you start winning football matches on a regular basis, people they want to come along, they want to be associated with that. So, you know, look at that. We were speaking coming in, Reza, and I said I'd be amazed if this was a sellout today. And I think we can see how long there is to go before kick-off. I definitely don't think it's going to be a sellout. I think people can come and sit wherever they want, I think, today, because there's that many empty seats in here. Yes, the bottom tier of that stand on the far side is filling up, but that's filling up with black and white, you know. So it could be a strange atmosphere tonight.
The four corners at Molineux, which holds about 32,000, are not filled in. A couple of them have got giant scoreboards and screens up, but it is still open. But to our immediate right, there is a relatively new section which looks like temporary seating, black seats, but it's completely open and exposed. There's no roof on it, and it's damp, and I think we're going to get more rain later.
They should let them in under the cover.
I was going to say,
there'll be plenty of seats for them.
As you were saying, they can sit anywhere. Those fans there in that small section to the right, who don't necessarily have the clearest view of the pitch, depending on where they are. If they're out towards the back, and then their view might be slightly restricted. Maybe the ticket prices reflect that, but yeah, they'd probably want to get under the cover of the roof on one of the other four stands in Molineux. But curious structure in the corner to the right hand side, probably a ground that's going to be hosting championship football next season, well, almost certainly. So it could be Newcastle's last trip to Molineux to play Wolverhampton Wanderers for a while, as they hope to make it back-to-back away wins in the Premier League and also extend their winning sequence in the league, following Burnley, Crystal Palace and Leeds to 4 matches. Find out here on BBC Radio Newcastle and on the BBC Sounds app this afternoon. More from Eddie Howe ahead of kick-off at 2, but let's take a look at the rest of the day's sporting action and get a bit more detail on what happened yesterday. Back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio to bring us up to date is Dominic James.
Matthew Reyes, Becca, John Anderson, thank you very much for the moment. Then we'll be back to Molineux shortly for that 2 o'clock kickoff, just over half an hour till kickoff between Wolves and Newcastle United. Elsewhere in the Premier League, just one game this afternoon. It comes at Villa Park. Aston Villa taking on Everton. Yesterday, though, quite a mixed bag of results. We'll come to Sunderland's 2-1 win over Crystal Palace shortly. We'll get some reaction from Regis LaBruce, but let's just tell you about the other scores. Of course, because in the Manchester derby, it finished 2-0 to Manchester United. A good start from Michael Carrick, of course. Carrick from Wallsend, beating Manchester City. Chelsea 2-0 winners over Brentford. Leeds 1-0 winners over Fulham at Ellen Road. Burnley getting a point at Anfield yesterday, finished 1-1 there. West Ham 2-1 winners away to Spurs. Callum Wilson, the former Newcastle striker, scoring in the last minute there to get 3 points for the Hammers. And then it finished goalless at the City Ground yesterday between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, felt a bit aggrieved after not getting a penalty after an alleged handball. But let's get some reaction then to Sunderland's 2-1 win yesterday against Crystal Palace. Brian Broby and Enzo Lefebvre, the scorers for the Black Cats. And after the game, our Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes spoke to the Sunderland head coach Regis Lebris.
We faced another strong side, experienced in this league with good players, well organised. They started a bit quicker than us, probably, and created 2 or 3 chances. Maybe we were a bit lucky because if they have been more clinical, could have been 1 or 2-0, and this league is relentless. They scored, but the equaliser came early, and I think our second half was really good.
The equaliser, again, I mean, I've seen a few moves this season of that quality, that Xhaka pass, Mukiele, the move was just, again, perfection.
I think we are getting better in every phases. This one is probably one of the most difficult because you have to be so accurate, and it's not only 1 or 2 players. You have to combine the activity of 3, 4, 5 different players, and they did really well on that side. I think we created more chances as well today, which is positive.
And you must be pleased for Broby as well, who seemed to be getting no luck from the referee and finally got his moment and took it really, really well.
It was a fight against Lacroix, and it's tough to play against Brian Broby, I think, and for us it's very positive because we feel now that the players are really comfortable to play 2 feet in behind, and in the box is a massive threat, and with a little bit more confidence now, you can score from everywhere.
Yeah, it was a great performance from Brian Broby. He's getting that goal to get the winner for Sunderland against Crystal Palace. For Sunderland against Crystal Palace yesterday. Sunderland moving a point ahead of Newcastle, but that could change this afternoon. Let's turn our attentions to non-league football yesterday. Some mixed results for our teams in the National League. Gateshead, Rob Elliott's first game at home in charge of Gateshead after his return to the club, but they lost 2-0 to Rochdale, and Mark Carruthers had a chat with the Gateshead manager after the match.
Robert, feels strange coming away from a 2-0 defeat, still obviously sitting bottom of the league, feeling positive, but I get the feeling, not just from yourself but off the pitch as well, there is a feeling of positivity after that.
I hope so, because, yes, the 2-0 scoreline at the end, I think they catch us on the break, which is fine. I don't mind that, because I told the lads I'd rather win. I'd rather we went for the draw, went for the win, whatever the situation is. And if we concede off the back of it, that's on me. That's not on the lads. So proud of the lads. I thought, the first 20 minutes Rochdale started well, and the mentality to get through that period. And then I thought from probably like the end of the first half to the whole of the second half, I felt we were the better team. And to say that against Jim's team and that Rochdale side, Jim might disagree, but I think overall we were the better team, and I think their quality and their probably fitness in their players. We had a lot of players who hadn't played, and I think that showed a little bit. So just really proud and pleased, and it gives us a huge platform to move on from. That doesn't mean we're going to kick on now from that, because there's going to be a dip with Hartlepool. It'll be a different type of game, a bit of a derby, but we just have to take that momentum and that positivity into it.
That is the Gateshead manager Rob Elliott speaking to Mark Carruthers after their 2-0 defeat to Rochdale yesterday. In National League North, top of the table, South Shields beat bottom of the table Leamington 3-0. An expected result there, but important to pick up the points. In the NPL Premier, Heaven Town moved to second in the table with a 1-0 win over Ashton United. Morpeth, though, they lost 1-0 away to Gainsborough. Trinity in the East Division yesterday. Dunstan, they were 3-1 winners over Heaton Stand. Dunstan up to 4th in the table. And afterwards, BBC Radio Newcastle's Liam Milburn spoke to the Dunstan boss, John McDonald.
3-1 win this afternoon for Dunstan. Obviously, the early goal kind of set the tone for you. Do you think a good performance and a good 3 points, especially after disappointment through the week against Hallam?
That's right. We asked the lads for a fast start today, and I think we scored after 2 or 3 minutes. Heaton are a good side. Dean and Andy have got a good side there. But I thought overall we were worthy winners. I thought, to be fair, both teams had chances, but I thought overall we deserved to win the game.
Obviously this season you've been kind of in the playoff mix, and the last couple of years you've been like just ever so close but not quite there. Does that kind of motivate you this season to go one further and just get the job done?
Massively it does. I think we've came very, very close 2 years running, and we hope this year's our year, but there's a long way to go. I think what I would say is I think the league's more competitive. I think the top 8 sides in the league are really good sides. It's a tough division, but we've got that experience from the last 2 years, and hopefully that stands us in good stead.
And just a word on Jude Swales as well, set the tone from the off this afternoon. He's on 4 goals this season. You've got goals across the team. David Robinson's chipping in, Will Shaw's scored a hatful as well. How important is it to have those players across the team who are all contributing and all kind of going towards that main goal of getting promotion?
Massively important. We're delighted to have Jude back. He's had a problem with his knee and he's been out 3.5 months, but he's a massive asset for us in both boxes, and like you say, we've seen that after 2 or 3 minutes today, but I thought for his first full 90 minutes back he was excellent. With Michael Pearson came back today, but he can still feel his knee, so he had to come off. So we've been without 2 or 3 influential players. Josh Donaldson, hopefully he'll be back next week, but you're right, we've got goals from everywhere. We've got people who can score, which I think will be really important for us this year.
John McDonald, the Dunstan manager, speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle's Liam Milburn after their 3-1 win over Heaton Stannington yesterday. Ashington, meanwhile, they were beaten 4-0 by Bradford Park Avenue at home. 2 good results for both of the Blyth teams. Blyth Town beating North Ferriby 4-0 and Blyth Spartans beating Grimsby Borough by the same scoreline. Concert, they picked up an away point at Newton Aycliffe, that finished 1-1 there. To the FA Vars, though, where North Shields are through to the last 16 after beating Chadderton 2-0 away from home. And yesterday, BBC Radio Newcastle's Paul Dixon was watching.
Terrific performance. 2 wonderful goals by Brandon Slater, and the second one was a real bit special. If you get the chance to see it, use people listening, have a look. It was a wonderful goal. I'm sitting here with the manager of North Shields, Brian Smith. And Brian, how happy are you that you're in the last 16?
Oh, we're over the moon. we're desperate to win, to keep this run, keep on going, and we feel like we're getting better, but just magnificent. We deserved it today.
You certainly did deserve it. Yes, you played some wonderful football. And I think throughout the whole team, Brendan Slater has to be man of the match for 2 wonderful goals, but the rest of the team played some wonderful football and really got stuck in and defended for you.
They did the hard side of it, which they're all willing to do, and they were the edgy as anything. I think the edgiest team we've come across. Mouthy, little tricks, all the little tricks that you get dig up. But to be fair, our lads aren't bothered about that. They're quite happy to stand up to it and enjoy that side of the game. But we were the better team, and Slats, as you mentioned before, he's been superb today.
And the fans, there was about 150 of North Shields fans, really loved the club, and they got right behind you today, didn't they?
They did, all about 10, every single one of them, 10 pints deep, I think. Happy as Larry, but no, they were brilliant, and they are, and we just need to get more and more people there. Hopefully we'll get a home draw, we'll get more and more people there, because it was excellent today, and you can't beat days like today.
I think it was possibly a lively bus journey home and maybe some sore heads this morning. But yes, a huge congratulations to North Shields, who are through to the last 16 of the FA Vars. The draw takes place tomorrow, so we'll keep you up to date on that on BBC Radio Newcastle. To the Women's FA Cup 4th round. Not a good round for our side. Newcastle beaten on Friday night 3-0 by West Ham. Here is their defender Gemma Purefield.
I think that shows the level, and we've got bits we can learn and tweak, and I think when they had their chances they punished us tonight, and that's unfortunate, but I think there was a lot of positives that we can look back and take as well. Everyone that's played a part today was very good, and I think we showed that we can go toe to toe at times with the WSL teams, and we'll just tweak the little bits that we need to and make sure that we keep improving.
Sunderland, meanwhile, they were beaten 1-0 yesterday by London City Lionesses at Epperton. Here is the Black Cats head coach, Mel Ray.
Thought we made it difficult for them. Thought we defended the area really well. We kept them out the box. We had to defend a lot of set pieces, and unfortunately they outdid with one, which is disappointing. But I think the positives we take from it is that they haven't scored against an open player, so we have to take that as a real positive.
Yeah, not a good round for our sides. Then moving away from football, and in rugby union on Friday night, the Newcastle Red Bulls were beaten 35-12 by the Newport Dragons in the European Challenge Cup, but they are already through to the knockout stages. That gets underway in April. Switching codes to Rugby League, and Newcastle Thunder get their championship season underway this afternoon. They kick off at 2 o'clock as well, so we'll update you on that, how they are getting on at half time. In basketball, the Newcastle Eagles on Friday night, they lost in overtime to the Bristol Fires, 85 points to 83. They're back in action this afternoon at 3 o'clock away to the Manchester Giants. Tip-off is at 3 o'clock. And yesterday in the Women's Super League, the Newcastle Eagles had an away trip to Sheffield Hatters, losing quite heavily, 88 points to 56 there to the Sheffield Hatters yesterday. So not a good result for them. In ice hockey this afternoon in the Scottish National League, the Whitley Warriors, they are away at home, to the North Ayrshire Wild. Face off at Hillheads is at 5 o'clock. And in the Snooker Masters final today, it is Kyron Wilson up against John Higgins. That one got underway at 1 o'clock, and we're still in the second frame there, and John Higgins has taken that first frame, so we'll update you on that throughout the afternoon here on BBC Radio Newcastle. But it's time for us to head back to Molineux to continue build-up to Wolves against Newcastle United in the Premier League. Matthew Racebeck and John Anderson will be with you in just a moment.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
There has been news of a departure from the Toon this morning. Ross is on the phone. What's happened?
Anthony Gordon's losing the top knot.
That's right, Anthony Gordon has had his hair cut. Barber Kalbach has put a video up on his socials, and he's your best mate, isn't he, Rossi? Are you happy with the news?
Carl texted us on Wednesday saying Gordon's booked in for tomorrow. It was great news. I couldn't sleep.
All the breaking football news you need right here on your breakfast show. Who needs Total Sport, eh?
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
29th minute, Murphy delivers the ball for Voltemada! Nick Voltemada! Newcastle's record signing on his debut, scores with a header. What a start for the new boy, the new striker, brought in for big money to score goals. He started in the right way. His first chance, first time they put one in for him to get on the end of. And he beats Johnson with the header from close range. What a moment for Nick Voltemada at St James's Park on the half hour. It's Newcastle United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Racebeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Back to September, Newcastle's first win of the season, and a debut goal for Nick Voltemada, getting that header into the back of the net, the only goal of the match actually, so gave Newcastle the victory. It was his first effort. He scored with each of his first 6 shots on target, Voltemada, which was a remarkable statistic. 4 in his first 5 Premier League games as well. But he scored, Ando Voltemada, in only one of his last 12 Newcastle appearances. He did get 2 that day against Chelsea, but only 2 in 12, and he hasn't scored for 6 matches. So the goals have dried up. Now, he hasn't started all of the games recently, whereas he was starting pretty much every week in the autumn and prior to Wissa's return. What do you think the main reasons for the lack of goals are? And it could be a combination of factors: lack of service, time on the pitch. Is there something to do with confidence there, or even his positioning and how deep he tends to be?
I don't think it's a confidence thing. I think he's a confident boy. I think you see him when he plays. He likes to come deep. You wouldn't say he's an orthodox centre forward. You look at him, you look at Wissa, 2 different types of players. Wissa wants to get in and around the 6-yard box, wants to get across defenders, where Voltemada wants to come and he wants to link play up, doesn't really bust a gut to get into the penalty area. It was a great start for him. The way he started his Newcastle career was was unbelievable, and you thought, oh dear, we've got one on our hands here. But it has dried up a little bit. But you know, he hasn't been playing consistently either. You know, it comes back to what I was on about earlier on about you need to be playing consistent number of games. He hasn't been. He's been in, he's been out. They've been changing it with him and Wissa. So you know, okay, I still think he'll score goals. Do I think he's a 20 goal a man season? No, I don't. You know, because as I say, he doesn't look like an out and out natural goal scorer. You know,
mind you, he is on 9 so it's 1 in 3, just slightly in terms of goals to game ratio. 29 games, 9 goals.
Yeah,
Barnes is on 11. So in half a season again, that's a good return for someone who, like you say, is not a penalty box striker like Johan Wissa is.
No, different types of players. You know, you look at Wissa, he likes to stay up the pitch, he likes to get in the penalty area, he likes to be in and around the 6-yard box. He gambles on things coming into the penalty area. You know, he gambles on getting across defenders. That's the thing that Voltemada doesn't do. You know, so but look, I don't think anybody can complain with the way he started his first season here. You know, the goals that he's got. But a lot of people want to see the two of them playing together. I don't see that happening a great deal, if I'm perfectly honest. He's done it once this season as Eddie Howe. Did it work? Not really. But you know, I think he'll keep rotating, he'll keep playing Wissa, he'll take him out, and then he'll put Voldemar in. They're the things that got to be done with the amount of games that we've got coming up.
Wissa has looked a bit short of confidence in front of goal, and we saw that in the early part of the match against Manchester City when he put it over the top and really should have scored. Did as well as he probably could with the header that forced an important save from James Trafford and also clipped the bar as well. But speaking of confidence, we just watched the substitutes finish their warm-up, and Wissa taking some shots at the temporary goal that was wheeled onto the side of the pitch, along with some of the other players on the bench, including Anthony Elanga, who has had a tough start to his career at Newcastle United. There's no doubt about that. Elanga, he missed 5 matches with a knock before returning as a sub against Manchester City. The reaction from the crowd when he was introduced was not entirely positive, and then some of the things he did generated some groans from the stands as well. Eddie Howe has been talking about Elanga, says he needs time and support.
It's a difficult one for him because he comes on very late in the game. He has minimal minutes. He's just come back from an injury, so he hasn't trained regularly, and of course every time you step on the pitch you get judged straight away. So he did a couple of really nice things. The margins between success and failure for the team and for the individuals are always so small. I think Anthony will be fine. I think he's an incredible professional. I think my big wish is that he plays in an environment where he feels safe and he feels free to express himself. I think there's no denying his ability and the qualities that he can bring to the team. He'll need a bit of time to find his best form, but I'm confident he'll get there.
Anthony Elanga on the bench again for Newcastle today, feeling his way back after an injury. It was expected that he would be, with his Premier League experience and a strong season for Nottingham Forest last year, that he would just carry on where he left off. It hasn't happened. Do you feel there is enough there with Elanga that they can develop and also help him with the confidence side of his game, so that he can start producing on a regular basis? It does seem sometimes that while he possesses great speed and direct play, that there can be a lack of finesse maybe and a lack of technique, and if you put it all together, then he could be he could be special. If he
could put it all together, he would be special. He'd be one hell of a player. You know, look, we know that he's got pace to burn. His touch, from what we've seen, hasn't been great. Ball gets away from him. Sometimes he doesn't see the simple thing, you know. So again, it's been difficult for him because he's come into a situation where he's been asked to play a different way to what he did at Nottingham Forest. It's a different setup, different type of game plan. And the unfortunate thing for him is because of the amount of, it's the same old story. Because of the amount of games that we've had, Eddie Howe hasn't been able to get these players on the training ground and work with them and get them doing the things that he wants them to do and get them into a formula where what he wants them to do when they're starting games and the way that the team set up. So that's been a difficult situation. So look, they wouldn't have spent the money on him if they didn't feel that the ability was there and that there was quality there. It's just taken a little bit longer, but it has been frustrating for him. He'll be feeling it more than anybody, because he will have wanted to come here, wanted to do well, wanted to hit the ground running, and I have to say I thought he would do, having had Premier League experience, having played in the Premier League, knowing what it was all about. But unfortunately for him, it hasn't happened as of yet.
The team today is Pope, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Barnes, Gordon, Voltemada. It's 4 changes from Manchester City the other night. Players have gone inside, and the supporters in the uncovered seating area in the corner to our right probably wish they could go inside. They've most of them, they've obviously been supplied with yellow ponchos to try and keep the rain off their heads and keep their clothes dry. But some fine rain coming down here in the West Midlands, and not the best place to watch the match from. And given Wolves' fortunes and only one win at home in the Premier League, one Premier League win all season, they might well be wishing they'd just gone out for Sunday dinner or something else rather than come here and get soaked. 10 minutes to go until kick-off on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. And remember, you can get plenty more on the Magpies on BBC Sounds. After the game, we'll put some post-match reaction on there. Search for Newcastle United, and you'll be able to listen to Eddie Howe's thoughts on the game and hopefully the views of a player as well. But the black and white commentary will also be available on BBC Sounds as well as right here on BBC Radio Newcastle across all frequencies. More from Howe in a moment. Firstly, Rob Edwards, whose team may be bottom and a long way from safety, but they beat West Ham convincingly a couple of weeks ago to get their first win in the Premier League, and Wolves are unbeaten in 4 in all competitions.
It's a good feeling around the place. I think even before that, I think I'd said this before, I think even before that, with some decent performances, the mood around the place has been good. Results certainly helped that even more, there's no doubt about it. But it hasn't felt like all doom and gloom when you're around here. We're in a difficult position, but you've still got to try and enjoy coming to work, and people are allowed to smile, they're allowed to laugh, and we've got to make sure we're working really hard, but we're allowed to enjoy ourselves and our lives as well. So it certainly feels like there's a good vibe around at the moment. We want to try and keep that going. Just consistency in what we're doing, and when I look at it, it was a little bit broken. The lads were they were a bit low, and so it's been and still will be a big challenge. They've responded really well to what we've tried to do. Slowly but surely I think we've progressed and we want to improve. That's all we want to try and continue to do.
Rob Edwards was unbeaten against Newcastle a couple of seasons ago, Ando, when he was with Luton. Newcastle lost away, and then there was an incredible 4-4 draw at St James's Park. His stock was really high there. Lost the role at Luton, left there, and was doing well with Middlesbrough before deciding to come back to a club he represented as a player. They obviously feel he's going to be the man to get them back up. Whether or not that proves to be the case, we'll see. But just before we hear from Eddie Howe again, you said earlier that the fact that the pressure's probably off could be a positive and a benefit to Wolves, couldn't it? Because everyone expects it to go down, may give them some freedom to play with.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any way in the world that Wolves are getting out of the situation that they're in. They've got to win 5 games. and then hope that other teams are going to lose 5 games. It's just not realistic to think that that's going to happen. But they've got to keep going, the professionals. They've got to keep giving it the best that they've got and get as many points on the board as they can. They've got to try and win as many games as they can. You just hope that it doesn't start here today.
Back to playing 3 times a week. Newcastle, and Eddie Howe thinks it caught up with them a bit in the Manchester City defeat, especially after the FA Cup extra time.
My personal opinion, there's a bit of fatigue in the Manchester City performance, whether that was physical, mental, after the 120 minutes. And I know not everyone played those minutes, but I just that was my feeling having watched the game live and again. Don't think it was us at our physical absolute best, but I sort of understand from the players' perspective the load they've been under and playing under. It doesn't mean we couldn't have won the game, and we were close to doing so, I thought. But I think now it's a case of, between the Manchester City game and Wolves game, to really try and freshen the players up, to try and get us at our absolute best. This is a massive game in our Premier League season, in my opinion. We've built good momentum. We want to continue that as long as we can.
And you'll be coming up against a team that has seen an upturn in form recently, haven't they, with some results in the Premier League and in the FA Cup. How do you assess Wolves now, perhaps compared to a few weeks ago?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're in a better place. I think Rob's a very good manager. He's come in and I think he's given them a clear way of playing, clear structure. And I think they're playing with freedom, actually. I think they're playing some really good football. Statistically, they've been a bit of an outlier this year. Their form has not been statistically as bad as the results that they've got, and that's been all season. So I think they've been unlucky not to have more points. I think from our perspective, we don't underestimate anybody. We respect everyone. We need to make sure that we're mentally in our best place, because, as I said, this is such an important game and we can't take anybody lightly.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
The referee, Sam Barrett from West Yorkshire, leads the players onto the pitch, emerging from the tunnel just along to our left-hand side. Newcastle in their 3rd kit today, the blue and orange colours. Pope wearing pink. Wolves, gold shirts, black shorts, gold socks. And goalkeeper Jose Sarr in light green. Referee and his assistants with blue shirts, black shorts and socks. Tim Wood and Wade Smith are the assistant referees. Simon Hooper is the 4th official. And Paul Tierney on VAR, assisted by Richard West. Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall greets Rob Edwards as they make their way to their respective dugouts. Newcastle to the left-hand side of the halfway line. Handshakes between the two teams. And Wolves, one change, which has come in midfield. Andre has replaced John Arias. Jose Sarr in goal. Back 3, Yerson Mosquera, Santiago Bueno and Ladislav Krejci. Jackson Chachua, Andre, João Gomez, who's being linked to Atletico Madrid. Mateus Mane, the talented 18-year-old, one that we'll be taking a keen interest in today. A lot of hype about him. And Hugo Bueno completes the 5 across the middle. Tolo Arokidare, they got him from Genk in Belgium at the end of the summer transfer window. The 6'6" striker for £24 million. He's got 4 goals. And Hwang, who has 2 goals this season but has found the net against Newcastle here on occasion in the past. Wolves bench, Sam Johnston, Matt Doherty, David Moller-Wolfer, former Newcastle target Jürgen Strand-Larsen, John Arias, Emmanuel Agbadou, Pedro Lima, Rodrigo Gomez and Fer Lopez. And Newcastle United, Pope, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Barnes, Gordon and Voltemada. The substitutes are Ramsdale, Wissa, Elanga, Willock, Alex Murphy, Ramsey, Shahar, Neve and Miley.
4 changes: Trippier, Tonali, Barnes, Voltemade, for Miley, Ramsey, Wissa and Jacob Murphy, who is not part of the squad today. 2 teams huddled together. We've had flashing LED boards and digital screens at Molineux. We've had fire-breathing machines giving us a nice blast of warm air on a cold
nice.
day.
Yeah,
most welcome.
Lovely bit of warm air, yeah.
A noisy public address system as Molineux pretty much fills up, actually.
It's filled up quite well, hasn't it?
Yeah, quite quickly in the last 5-10 minutes. Maybe supporters were just staying warm, staying inside somewhere. Newcastle United with the pressure on the Mando, given Wolves' position, but also a great opportunity. They were 6th after the third of the 3 Premier League wins. The brilliant, dramatic victory over Leeds. They want to get back up there or higher if they can today with a big enough win. So it's a massive afternoon for them. Odds-on favourites, and they've got to deliver as they kick us underway here on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sounds and the Newcastle United website and app.
Yeah, look at it. Big game, as you say. Important game. Important to carry on that winning streak in the Premier League. You know, you're playing against a side that have struggled all season, that have only got the one league win under their belt. But if you don't go about it the right way, you could end up with egg on your face.
They are shooting towards the goal to the right-hand side. Newcastle, and have it. Misplaced pass. Voltemade out to Hall. Edge of the area, looking for the run through the middle of Bruno. It was just away from him and it was behind Voltemade. So they could have been in after 45 seconds there, but Wolves have managed to get it clear to halfway. Tonali on it and Hall out to the touchline to Gordon. 30 yards from goal, swings it back to Botman and square to Chow. Trippier gets a touch, finds the feet of Barnes, back to Trippier. Andre closing down as Tonali plays it to Chow, and it goes to Botman. Behind halfway now, Hall on the touchline, could come infield to Tonali, instead goes back to Botman. Wolves push up, keeping a relatively high line here. Newcastle staying in possession of the ball until Sven Botman on the diagonal in between Barnes and Trippier and out on halfway.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscue, wasn't it? You can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to ping it into the path of Barnes, but got it all wrong.
Tonali working hard to win the ball back, and he's done so. Got away from Hwang and then got the better of Andre. They send it forwards to Voltemade. Joelinton has a touch onto Hall. Gordon helping it forwards, and it deflects behind off Hugo Bueno.
There's more of an urgency about us than there is about Spurs, or about Wolves, I should say.
And Spurs.
Yeah, and Spurs.
At the minute.
Winning those 50-50s, aren't we? Early part of the game, just wanting it that little bit more.
Corner on the right-hand side in the 3rd minute. Winning a corner generated a noisy response from the away fans on the far side of the pitch. Lewis Hall to take the corner, drives it to the back of the box, and goal kick's been given. The back of the 6-yard box, to be precise. Joelinton was looking for it. Not sure which Newcastle player got the last touch. There was
plenty
a cluster
of
of players
in there, wasn't it? There was plenty of bodies in and around there. Came off somebody. Referee's seen it. Decided the last touch was off a Newcastle short and gives the goal kick.
Tolu Arakadare is, well, a giant of a figure up front. Malik Chow's come out to the near touchline with him. Eddie Howe telling Kieran Trippier to drop in and get a bit closer, because Jose Sarr's looking for the Nigerian forward, who's won a challenge in between Chow and Joelinton, who ended up on the floor. Wolves work it to the right-hand side, and it's Jackson Chechua, the speedy Cameroonian international, playing at wing-back today. Infield it comes, there's an offside, as it was flicked on by Arakadare. edge of the penalty area, and he was offside.
Yeah, he was well offside, wasn't he?
Correct decision from the assistant, far side of the pitch. Gordon inside to Tonali. Trippier wanted it switched, didn't come. It went back out left to Hall, and Botman over to Chow. Trippier's available on the halfway line. Chow thought about playing it to feet to Trippier, but then Hugo Bueno was closing down, so Chow moved inside, and now they give it to Hall. Joe Linton, that's away from Tonali, but Chow is well placed to roll it back to Pope. And Trippier gets it from the goalkeeper, and it comes inside to Chow. Newcastle with possession build up to halfway. Hall. Botman to Tonali. Just working it around United, making Wolves chase. Eddie Howe is full of movement in the technical area, coaching from the sideline. 0-0. Here they go over halfway. 5 minutes gone. On to Hall. Good forward run towards Barnes at the back post. And it's taken a touch off the defender and rolled along the line towards the corner and has been kept in by Hugo Bueno. And it's Krejci here, the Czech international, to Andre. Hugo Bueno can't go forwards, goes back to Krejci near the goal line. Lifted into midfield. Joe Linton, nice cushion header to Trippier. He plays it against Mateus Mane. Trippier's down, and the whistle's gone from
he's
Sam
given the
Barrett.
free kick now.
He gave himself time to think about the decision, and Kieran Trippier, who is holding the lower part of his right leg following the challenge from 18-year-old Mateus Mane, has belatedly been awarded a free kick.
That was delayed. It's a great ball played in, isn't it, by Hall? Fabulous ball from that left-hand side.
Trippier clearly took a whack there, but thought play was just going to be allowed to go on. Not so, and it's Newcastle's free kick just inside the Wolves half on the right. Trippier to Tonali, gets it back again and plays it straight back to the Italian, who has a touch, clips it into the box. They're looking for Botman, who heads across. Voltemada trying to get it near post, but it's thumped clear by Mosquera.
They don't look right at the back, do they? They look shaky, Wolves.
And this is Gordon to Joe Linton, sent back but straight to a player in black and gold for Wolves, and Hwang leading the attack up to the edge of Newcastle's penalty area. Mane on the corner of the box on this near left side to Hugo Bueno, who is still out wide, going to take on Trippier, cuts back, plays it to Hwang, comes away up the line. Barnes and Trippier there, they've got two Newcastle. Krejci swings it in left-footed, Hall flicks clear, and Mosquera, deep cross. Nobody anywhere near that goal kick.
No, not a great ball played in, was it? Didn't give anybody a chance of getting on the end of that one.
It's back in play. Short ball from the goal kick from United to Trippier, then Chow and Botman for Hall. Four defenders all having a touch up the line to Gordon, rolled back to Botman. They'll be dominating the possession stats, won't they, Newcastle? Been into the box a couple of times. Crosses have caused some issues, but no big opportunities yet. Tonali gives Botman an angle in midfield. He's still available if Pope wants to play it to him. It's instead to Chow on the corner of the penalty area. Bruno's dropped into the middle now to come and get on it, and over it goes to Hall. They found some space left side. A ball curled in behind for Gordon to try and run onto. Mosquera's just got there, but he's given it straight to Gordon, and Joe Linton to Voltemada trying to turn. Tonali edge of the Wolves penalty area, crowded out and brought away by the home side. And a sliding challenge from Lewis Hall on Yerson Mosquera, and a free kick for Wolves.
Didn't take his time over that one, did he?
Yeah. Hall got none of the ball.
No.
Mosquera almost lost out to Gordon. Did lose the ball to Gordon, who couldn't take it on into the box. And then there was a lack of space for United on the edge of the area. So that attack led to nothing, and then on the turnover, the transition, Wolves win a free kick just past the halfway line on the right. Andre, edge of the area from his free kick. His Brazilian compatriot Joe Linton brings it down and then wins a free kick, having been tripped himself. Trippier quickly over to Botman. And now Hall looking for Gordon. Right on the touchline. Plays it back to Botman. Inside to Pope. 6 yards out. Onto Tonali. First time to Botman. And Hall there in a more central position to Tonali.
No squeezes that.
Not enough pressure from Wolves in your view. Joe Linton on halfway. First time ball, the inside of his right boot into space between players, but Hall keeps it in. And now, having given it to Sven Botman, gets it back again, plays it to Botman, who is heading back towards his own box. Content to start again and be patient here with it, United. Pope took his time over that one, under pressure, out to Chow, then Trippier, then Chow again. And they're looking long here for Voltemada. Brought down, trying to turn. Some appeals for a free kick. Nothing given for Nick Voltemada in midfield. And Bueno for Wolves up the near side. Hwang into
I think
Andre.
he had claims for a free kick there, Voltemada.
Yeah,
wrapped himself around him, didn't he?
Hasn't got the decisions he has expected many times this season. I'm trying to remember which match it was where there were players who were all over him. It was might be the Fulham game in the league. Happened repeatedly. Didn't get anything. In Germany, he might have got that.
Yeah, he wasn't in Germany though.
No. Wolves switch it to the far side to João Gomez. Then a deflected cross, which Tonali heads away. Nobody up really for United. Eddie Howe's waving his players up the pitch. And while Howe is animated and has been in the opening 12 minutes, Rob Edwards very calm with his hands behind his back. 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Back to the goalkeeper Jose Sarr. Gordon started to run. Voltemada now goes to close down, as does Tonali. It's with Andre facing his own goal. Out to Mosquera. Chow is pushed up. They find Mateus Mane. And now Andre turns nicely in midfield, looking to drop it over the head of Lewis Hall, who got up, made one challenge. And then João Gomez gets it for Wolves from the second ball, and a cross played into the box, cleared away near post by Newcastle. Decent break from the home team there, and they've got the chance to put it into the middle again. They look for Mateus Mane, tries to flick it. Chow makes a block, and Hall wants to come forwards with it, and does, and it's Bruno. Barnes up ahead. He's trying to stay onside, Barnes. Bruno now at halfway and into the Wolves half, plays it to Barnes eventually, who goes on the outside to Trippier, back to Barnes, first time cross, good one, Voltemada, wide, and he didn't get enough contact on the ball. It's a really good delivery from Barnes, first time into a great area. Voltemada got across the defender but didn't get enough of a connection on the ball, and
it's whip ball in, wasn't
wide.
it? Just flicks off his forehead, doesn't it? Doesn't get great contact on it.
Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0. Botman with a header to Tonali, who heads it back. It's slightly away from Chow, but no pressure from Wolves. Up the line to Trippier. Barnes making a run, and they're looking to drop it into space for Barnes, who took a touch on it's like a half volley to bring it down, and
tried to take it and go at the same time, didn't he? Just got too much on it.
Ran behind for a goal kick, which Wolves have already taken. Krejci to Hugo Bueno. Newcastle with a high press. Andre here in the box to Krejci, out to Bueno. Trippier, they're judged to have tripped him. A bit fortunate there, because they seem to have played themselves into a spot of bother. Free kick given. Taken about 10 yards further forwards from where the offence was committed. Krejci on towards halfway. Chow for United, on by Tonali. Voltemada has turned. Voltemada brought down by Santiago Bueno, who helps him up to his feet and gives him a pat on the arm in apology.
Just got too tight to him, didn't he? Got really tight. Bueno then lost his bearings.
Didn't get the earlier free kick, Voltemada, but got that one. It is probably 10, getting on for 10 yards from the edge of the box. But it's quite... It's not really one that you think is lined up for a shot at goal. It's out towards the corner of the area. Lewis Hall is next to it, but you've also got Trippier. Either could cross it into the middle with Botman, Joelinton, Voltemada, Chow all waiting. Bruno there as well. Hall flicks it to Trippier, and a header onto the roof of the net.
Voltemada again, wasn't it? Well worked free kick. Decent delivery in, gets up well. This time he makes good contact on it.
Two headers from Nick Voltemada. That was better contact with the ball. But like the first, the earlier chance off target. 0-0. And Hugo Bueno back to Krejci. Andre comes to get it. It's got a good position here in midfield, and in behind for Mateus Mane to run onto. He's kept it in. Low cross from the left-hand side. Nick Pope lands on the ball. Wolves had a runner in the box trying to turn it in, but that's positive play from the teenager, and almost found Arokadare.
Good ball.
Trippier on his chest to Voltemada. That's a good take. Plays it back to Trippier, inside first time to Bruno, just behind halfway. Hall makes a run into space, and Trippier's floated pass finds him. Brought down on the chest by Lewis Hall, then rolled to the feet of Gordon. The cut back for Tonali in the middle. But
difficult one to take, wasn't it?
Tonali's first touch was heavy, he was under pressure.
It was a difficult one to take, to be fair to him. Good build-up again, though. Hall and Gordon on that left-hand side. Surrounded by yellow shorts as well, Tonali, isn't he?
th minute at Molineux, as the rain continues to fall. Jose Sarr, it's a huge goal kick. Botman has actually won a free kick. He headed it backwards. Pope was there, but Arokadare had fouled him, and now it's at the feet of Trippier, inside to Sandro Tonali. To the left to Botman as they approach halfway, where they find Lewis Hall.
It's a big lump of a boy, isn't he? Arokadare.
Joelinton back to Botman. Chow on to Barnes. He's threatening to take on Bueno, but goes back to Trippier. Tonali comes across, plays it to Trippier, then Chow again. 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle and the BBC Sounds app. Botman for Gordon, who's making a run up the line into a bit of space. João Gomez is with him. What a turn from Gordon. Oh, great skill, but the cross is cut out in the middle. Botman there with what might have been a foul. Joe Linton with a pull. Wolves through Mosquera on their way forwards. This centre-back might go all the way. Trippier's back pass nearly played him in again. Nick Pope was alive to the situation and cleared the danger, but that was some run from Mosquera, who just started going, kept going, and then when he was outnumbered, still continued. And Trippier's short back pass nearly gave him a tap-in.
Yeah. Nick Pope did well. Didn't panic, did he? Just sidestepped him, to be fair. Hell of a run, though.
Newcastle with 2/3 of possession, according to the latest statistics. Voltemada from Bruno's pass tried to take it on the turn and turned with the ball, but then it didn't go with him as he spun. So he got about half of it right, and Wolves got it clear to halfway, where Bruno is on it again and now finds Tonali. The Premier League's bottom side, Wolves, 1 win all season, but 4 unbeaten in all competitions against Newcastle, who looking for 4 straight Premier League victories. Gordon, good skill in the last attack, links up nicely with Bruno, but the return ball's just cleared before Gordon could get to it in the box. Mane here, nice take, and flicking it out to Hugo Bueno, who jinks away from Trippier and plays it out to Mane, who's had a lively start and looks like a real talent up to the edge of the area. Tonali's won a free kick. Wolves fans don't agree with the decision. Hugo Bueno, who was instrumental in that move up the pitch, caught Tonali.
Yeah, he hasn't endeared himself. Looked like he pulled the ball, didn't he?
He picked the ball up and shook it in the direction of the referee, and that's what he said as Gordon goes on the outside and wins a throw about 10 yards out. Chechua keeping pace with him, and Hall dries the ball in his blue and orange shirt. Botman and Chow go into the middle, but it's not a long throw, it's onto the chest of Bruno. Back to Hall, and the cross is caught by Jose Sarr in the middle. The 2 centre-backs are up the pitch. Others have got to get back to help United as it's played to Mateus Mane, inside left position. Comes infield, looks for Aro Kadare, who jumped over the ball, and Nick Pope gathers, but Mateus Mane, 18 years of age, looks a player.
He's been busy, hasn't he? He's been lively. Touch on the ball's been good.
Gordon and Hall exchange passes, far side. Still goalless at Molineux. Nick Voltemada with a couple of headers off target. Chow trying to find the feet of Voltemada, occupying the middle defender of the 3, Santiago Bueno. It's intercepted. Here's Hwang. Going to chip it in behind for Chechua. It's gone out of play. Newcastle throw, which Hall takes and drops at the feet of Gordon. Wolves have counter-attacked pretty well, haven't they?
Yeah, just that final ball's let them down, hasn't it?
Trippier to Barnes, inside to Bruno. Barnes holds his position. Bruno turns and plays it back to Chow. Got clipped by Andre as he did so. He released the ball just in time. Newcastle keep possession. Hall to Gordon. Have Newcastle done enough so far, do you think, John Anderson?
Yeah, they've been decent. Away from home, they've quality of ball into the box has been decent. They've had plenty of it as well.
Chow to Barnes, drifts in off the right wing, tackled. Scorer of a brilliant late winner here last season, Harvey Barnes, having come off the bench after Fabian Scher's deflected effort. Newcastle 1-0 down at half-time last season at Molineux. Big 2-1 win. They're looking for the opener now with Gordon and Joe Linton, and Tonali brought into the attack, and so too Trippier. Oh, up the line for Barnes, who didn't run. And it's a goal kick. Barnes held his position, Trippier played it forwards, and that move breaks down.
Yeah, they won it back well on the edge of the penalty area as well. Guimaraes and Joe Linton. combined to win it back.
Mateus Mane's come more and more into the game. He's obviously warmed up because he's just thrown his gloves off. A few players keeping their hands covered today. Hwang and Andre for Wolves. It's not been a classic in pretty miserable Sunday afternoon weather-wise in Wolverhampton. Bruno to Joelinton, edge of the box to Barnes. Trippier's free. Barnes lets it run and then plays it to Trippier. Bruno's come across to get it. Close to the edge of the penalty area. Finds the feet of Trippier again. Back to Bruno. Hall available inside. He's got space. Chipped into the box, but too much behind the ball. Too high for Tonali. And Barnes unable to get around as well.
Always going to skid away, isn't it? We've had such a lot of rain. Stray little balls like that, as soon as they hit this surface, just take off. Need to be so precise with it.
Wolves boss Rob Edwards has called Hwang Hee-chan across to the touchline. They're having a word. Jason Tindall giving the instructions to Newcastle players. Then Eddie Howe's gone out straight away as soon as the ball goes up the pitch, arms outstretched, and he's pointing something in the direction of players on the far side. Doesn't seem happy there with their shape, Eddie Howe. Not the best kick out by Jose Sarr. It reached Hugo Bueno and then they lost it to Trippier. Barnes to Bruno, ends up on the floor. No free kick. Wolves looking for Arokadare, but Botman defends the situation, and his pass inside to Tonali finds the Italian, but his touch is heavy, and Mane's got it for Wolves, and Andre to Hugo Bueno, and they now find a bit of space in midfield and turn and go back to Krejci, who is on loan, the defender. Krejci from Girona scored a goal that earned them a draw at Man United just a few days after Newcastle were there. Newcastle couldn't score, and Wolves, bottom of the table, got a point. And then look at what happened yesterday against Manchester City, who won at St James's Park. Sometimes there are some strange results, and some results that get even more frustrating as you look back on them. Here's a throw for Trippier on the right. Joelinton, good strength into Barnes, edge of the area. Barnes drags it back, tries to find the opportunity for a cross or a pass, and it's rolled to Trippier. Now on for Joelinton, no offside. Holding it up, back out wide to Trippier, but it was short. And Wolves scoop it clear. It's gone out off Arokadare. Wow. Chow was there. Surely the touch was off the Wolves striker, Tolu Arokadare. And the assistant, who's got a pretty good view, and unless there was a flick that we couldn't see from our commentary position, that seemed a certain Newcastle throw in the Wolves half, and it's gone the other way. Mane to Andre, back to Santiago Bueno. He was quite slim for a centre-back, isn't he? Quite wiry and bony. Santiago Bueno's got it again. Similar build to Voltemada, really, who he's up against. Wolves up the left wing to Arokadare. More muscular build. Brings it in field. Heavy touch. Almost lost out to Joelinton. Just keeps possession. Back to Mosquera. 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Not a classic.
No. Very seldom is here, though.
Mind you, Leeds wasn't until the final 10 minutes at the injury time, and Bournemouth wasn't in the FA Cup, because that was goalless at half-time, wasn't it? And then look what happened. Games can just...
They were both better than this.
Yeah, well, they can burst into life, can't they?
Yeah, I thought the Leeds game was good all the way through. I thought it was end-to-end. This is a little bit cagey, isn't it?
Long throw for Wolves on the right hand side
as the rain starts to fall again.
Yerson Mosquera, here it comes. runs towards the touchline. It's quite flat. It's helped on at the near side of the box. And an overhead kick from Mateus Mane. He's got plenty in his locker, hasn't he? It wasn't the acrobatic one, it was one where he took a touch and still had his standing foot planted on the floor, hooked it over his head, caught by Pope, centre of the goal.
Good technique, wasn't it? Fortunately, straight at Nick Pope, comfortable save.
Gordon trying to take on Chachua. Goes forwards and then back to Hall. Now Tonali as United keep possession in the Wolves half of the pitch. Last time they won 4 Premier League wins was between March and April last season, which is a run of 5 in total. Barnes gets it from Trippier, 35 yards out. Now Chow. Wolves with a back 5, a midfield 3 when they are defending, and actually Hwang drops in behind Aro Kadare. Newcastle having to work them side to side. They've been on the left, now they're back on the right with Trippier. Back to Chow, Botman's available. Chow up to Bruno, out to Trippier. Barnes comes to get it, plays it first time back to Chow, 40 yards out. 0-0, Tonali. They're moving it, keeping it, United. Wolves keeping their shape. Jason Tindall and Eddie Howe discussing matters as United keep possession. Gordon wanting to make something happen here. Voltemada drops deep, plays it back to Tonali, then gets himself up in the forward line again. Barnes inside to Tonali and comes wide right. This near touchline to Trippier. Bruno receives it. Gordon is there. He gets it from Bruno out to Trippier. Then Gordon again, corner of the box. Now Barnes tries to go on the outside. Clips it inside for Gordon. Hall at the D. Took a touch and his shot didn't travel far and was blocked by João Gomez. Aro Kadare has gone to the far touchline to keep it in for Wolves and has played it back to Chachua. Andre to Hwang. And now with space and plenty to run into as well, Hugo Bueno. Mane, edge of the area on the near side, on for Bueno, just overhit the through ball. Goal kick.
Had plenty of the ball, kept it well. It's just that final ball. That final pass has just let us down, hasn't it?
Gordon threatening to take on Jackson Chachua. He's playing for Hellas Verona in Serie A last season. Recorded the fastest speed of any player in Italy's top division because sprint speed is measured. I don't think Gordon's likely, as quick as he is, to beat him for pace. And when he's taking him on, he's just dragging it slowly and then waiting for support. In the meantime, Harvey Barnes has won a free kick on the right.
Krejci just tries to pinch it in front, just caught him. Just tried to read that ball to Barnes, but he's caught Barnes. Free kick in a dangerous area.
Yeah, it's about 20 yards out on the right, but very close to the side of the pitch. Bruno tying his lace in the D. Chow, Voltemada, Botman, Joelinton in the middle. Barnes is in the box. Hall is staying back. Everybody defending for Wolves. Let's see if they can get their noses in front here. Trippier with a deep free kick. Jose Sarr punches. Gordon tries to take it down. João Gomez has got it back for Wolves and then beaten Tonali to the second ball in midfield. 33 minutes, 0-0. Wolves straight to Barnes at the front of the centre circle. Barnes carries it and slips it forwards but straight to a Wolves player. I think he was trying to roll it in for Voltemada. Did the first bit well, but the pass was misdirected. It's their 11th Premier League away match this season. Of the first 10, 2 wins, 3 draws, 5 defeats. Out to the near side. Trippier gets a touch, but Hugo Bueno's got it back inside to Andre. João Gomez, that's misplaced, fallen between Wolves players, and they get away with it. Krejci and Santiago Bueno back to the goalkeeper. Voltemade was well positioned to pinch it, but just couldn't get there. Hall does well to find Gordon, who brings it back into Newcastle's half, then turns to face the Wolves goal and comes to halfway again. Eddie Howe is out once more, screaming something at his players. There's always a presence on the touchline, but he seems particularly busy and engaged today, Eddie Howe. Chow to Botman, first time for Hall, ahead of the centre circle. Gordon on the touchline, Chechua with him. Gordon goes on the outside, cross, it goes behind off the Wolves man. Another Newcastle set piece. Kieran Trippier jogs across to take the corner. Sven Botman's in there, approaching 100 games. Only scored twice for Newcastle a couple of seasons ago. He's round the back. Voltemade makes his move as well. Trippier's delivery, Arakudari's header, and it's Barnes in the box who has a touch and tried to lift a pass out to Trippier, but it was a high ball that was dropping slowly, and Wolves to Hwang put it out for a throw. Newcastle get it back in play. Gordon for Hall and Trippier, who is still on the left side. Bruno makes an unchecked run, comes to get it out to Gordon, first time delivery. Hall's got something on it, and it lands on the roof of the net.
Yeah, slightly behind him, wasn't it? And that footed cross in by Gordon, ball slightly behind. He's trying to dig it out, isn't he, young Hall? Just scoops it up in the air, lands on the roof of the net.
Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0. Probably their biggest moments, the two Voltemade headers, you would say. One that he flashed across goal, and the other that landed onto the roof of the net. I think the one that went wide that he didn't really connect with was the better one. It was a great ball in by Barnes, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, he needed to get more on the header. It slid across his forehead, hasn't it?
Pope, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Barnes, Gordon, Voltemade is the team. It's 4 changes. This is Barnes. Strand Larsen's on the bench for Wolves, by the way. The man Newcastle made 2 bids for. They got up to £55 million. Strand Larsen. It's just made you wince, isn't it? It's the money they paid for Johan Wisser ultimately, and a bit less than they had to fork out for Nick Voltemade. Gordon gets it on his right, then back on his left, on the outside of Chechua. I think the cross took a deflection near post, caught by Jose Sarr.
Done well against the money.
Latter part of the first half on BBC Radio Newcastle, and also on the BBC Sounds app. So if you're going to be on the move, you can find us there and continue listening to our commentary on Newcastle's match at Molineux. 0-0, with Chow bringing it up to halfway. The Wolves ball up the pitch found nobody, and it was just into space. Newcastle got it back in defence, and now Gordon, central position, beats one challenge, then wins a 50-50. Bruno, Gordon, edge of the area. Bruno looking for Voltemade, good challenge, and then Voltemade slides in, and that's
never a free kick
for Wolves, but looked like he clean tackle, and he just got the ball, Voltemade. It was Andre who came in.
It was like this one that was down here for Wolves as well. Yeah. I mean, he's just slid in, he's won the ball. Water's got in the system, right?
Yeah, our TV screen right in front of us has frozen on an image of Jose Sarr from earlier, so we can't see that tackle again. Voltemade just seemed to slide in from the side and win it cleanly. A few yards from the edge of the Wolves box, but Sam Barrett, the referee, didn't like it. Lewis Hall, good run, gets away from a a challenge and a crossfield ball to Trippier. On to Barnes. Finding Bruno. Now Trippier back to Tonali. Chow for Botman, centre circle. This is Hall again. And Gordon. They've got Chachua there and João Gomez across, doubling up on him. Gordon comes inside. It's a flat cross, cleared away into midfield to Bruno, who finds Trippier onto Barnes. That's good. Hangs up the cross. Jose Sarr punches
it.
And Chow brings it down on his chest. Plays it back to Trippier. They find Barnes again. Chow makes a forward run. Barnes comes in off the touchline. Then goes wide to Chow. Wolves able to get set. Chow bringing it back and back towards halfway to Botman. And then receives a return ball. Takes a touch on to Trippier. Bruno making a run. Trippier tries to find him and does. Bruno on his thigh, right side of the penalty area. Holding it up. Plays it back out to Trippier, who has a touch, couldn't cross it first time. Malik Chow on it now, but 35 yards from goal, and his pass back is away from Botman, and it's on halfway, left of centre. Tonali comes into the middle to get on it. 5 minutes to the break, no goals. Hall for Gordon. Wolves have been a threat on the break, but Newcastle have had most of the possession, and they've still got it. And Chow, bit of movement. Gordon runs up to support Voltemada. They play it to Hall, and now Joe Linton to Gordon and on to Voltemada, edge of the area. Tackle comes in. Joe Linton's got it, rolls it back to Hall, inside but backwards to Botman and square to Chow. Trippier is free. Chow lets it run, plays it to Kieran Trippier. Wolves close down, and Newcastle in their half and going backwards with each pass, but still keeping it. Botman then comes forwards to Chow, and they look to come again. Do you think they're looking maybe some ideas?
It's too slow. Passing it too slow.
Joe Linton
need runners.
Occupies the
haven't
wide
got runners from midfield.
Left position. He's taking on Chachua. Joe Linton's cross. Oh, it's a great one across the 6-yard box. Comes to Barnes. Low ball in from Barnes, cleared. Trippier makes a challenge on Hwang. Newcastle get it back in midfield, and it's Chow to Hall. And Joe Linton, when you say they need runners, they need somebody throwing themselves at the ball across the 6-yard box. That was a great cross from the left. Here's Hall, he makes a run and wins a corner. His cross deflects behind. You just want someone gambling, throwing themselves.
Joe Linton makes this run. Makes a diagonal run to the left side, and he whips a great ball in. But somebody's got to be getting across that 6-yard box.
Because of the curl on the ball, it went in towards goal, bent back out, and Barnes was at the right-hand side of the penalty area. Managed to keep the attack alive, and they kept it going, and they've got this corner in the 43rd minute. Trippier, in-swinger to the back post. Chow's there, and it's a scramble, and it's caught by Jose Sarr. The whistle's gone anyway. Sam Barrett blows up. Wolves going to get a free kick for that. Must have been a foul on the goalkeeper at the back post. It's headed down, and then players were throwing themselves at it. I think the goalkeeper might have dropped it. We can't see a replay because, as I said, our screen is frozen. So we can't tell you again what happened, unfortunately. We're only seeing it once. Hall trying to help it forwards to Bruno. Wolves get it back on halfway. And now the chance for a break from João Gomez. Up the right-hand side looking for Aro Kadare. Behind off Chow. Wolves' first corner of the match.
Good defending. Gremlins has got into it and the water.
They have gone
it's gone off.
Now I've just pulled the lead out.
Oh, have you?
Might not come back on now. Better looking at a TV monitor that's off than looking at that frozen picture of Jose Sarr with the ball in his hand that we've had for the last 10 minutes. It's important to review things after they happen as we follow it live here. 45th minute, Wolves left-footed in swinging corner.
Good header. Malik
Chow away, headed back in for Wolves. Botman falls and a snapshot caught by Pope.
Well, eventually when it got to him, toe poke by the big centre forward, took an eternity to get to him.
BBC Radio Newcastle 0-0. Tonali for Bruno. Would be a great time to score. The numbers board will be presented in about 30 seconds. I don't think there'll be much added on time. There's clearly going to be some. Gordon for Hall, edge of the Wolves area, back to Bruno, only Voltemada in the middle, but Barnes makes a good run. Here's Harvey Barnes trying to turn it back for Voltemada, but it's blocked. Botman then wins the challenge with Aro Kadare. Tonali up to Hall, who let it run, but it ran straight to a Wolves player. I think he thought that Gordon was just behind him. Cleared up to Tolu Aro Kadare, and he's done well there against Botman to nod it down for João Gomez. And Chachua, who just popped up on the left-hand side. They seem to have switched him with Hugo Bueno and Mateus Mane for Wolves. As a minute is shown on the numbers board, minimum additional time, a minute. Mosquera up to the feet of Aro Kadare, laid off for João Gomez, and he plays in Hugo Bueno, gets it back on his left, right side of the area. Hugo Bueno just wide. He was aiming for the far top corner, let fly with a left-footed shot that was curling towards goal and just flew past Nick Pope's right-hand post. 0-0 still.
Yeah, just cut in, didn't he? Left back found himself in that outside right position. He's cut back on his left foot, tried to whip it, didn't get enough bend.
So that's probably going to take us to half time as Pope kicks long. The whistle goes from Sam Barrett. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0. Level at the break, John Anderson.
Yeah, probably about right. We've had an awful lot of the ball. We haven't worked Jose Sarr, though. That's been the problem, isn't it? A final ball's let us down. It hasn't been a classic. It's been too slow. Needs to be an improvement in the second half.
Nick Voltemada, a couple of headers, but off target with both. Crosses of probably, you think a delivery from wide areas, set pieces have given them opportunities. You said that they haven't had runners in behind, and that was a problem when Joe Linton put that cross in. Nobody was gambling on it.
You need to get it
before half time.
You need somebody to get across that 6-yard box. We didn't have anybody doing it, but look at. He's got 15 minutes now to sort it out at half time.
We'll bring you the second 45 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds as they look here against the team bottom of the Premier League to make it 4 Premier League wins in a row at the break at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
There has been news of a departure from the Toon this morning. Ross is on the phone. What's happened?
Anthony Gordon losing the top knot.
That's right, Anthony Gordon has had his hair cut. Barber Kalbach has put a video up on his socials, and he's your best mate, isn't he, Rossi? Are you happy with the news?
Carl texted us on Wednesday saying Gordon's booked in for tomorrow. It was great news. I couldn't sleep.
All the breaking football news you need right here on your breakfast show. Who needs Total Sport, eh?
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Do I dare say Anthony Gordon looked a bit more aerodynamic in that first half. At half time then, it is Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0. This is Dominic James back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. We will be back to Molineux very shortly for second half commentary with Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson. But lots going on this weekend, so let's tell you about it. Elsewhere in the Premier League this afternoon, it is the only other game in the Premier League today is Aston Villa against Everton. That one gets underway at Villa Park at 4:30. Some mixed bag of results yesterday, a couple of upsets as well. In the early kick-off yesterday in the Premier League, Manchester United beating Manchester City 2-0 in the derby there. Brian Mbeumo and Patrick Dogu scoring the goals for United. What a start for Michael Carrick, of course. Michael Carrick from Wallsend. He's been put in charge until the end of the season there at Old Trafford. So a good start for him, 2-0 over their rivals. Elsewhere, Chelsea beat Brentford 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Leeds won 1-0 against Fulham at Ellen Road. Burnley, they picked up a point away to Liverpool. It finished 1-1 there. West Ham United, they beat Tottenham 2-1. The former Newcastle striker Callum Wilson scoring in the last minute to secure all 3 points for the Hammers, and it finished goalless at the City ground between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. But our main focus yesterday here on BBC Radio Newcastle was Sunderland's 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. Enzo Lefebvre and Brian Broby, the match winner for the Black Cats yesterday at the Stadium of Light, and our Sunderland commentator Nick Barnes spoke to the Sunderland head coach Regis Lebris after the match.
We faced another strong side, experienced in this league with good players, well organised. They started a bit quicker than us probably and created 2 or 3 chances. Maybe we were a bit lucky because if they have been more clinical, could have been 1 or 2-0, and this league is relentless. They scored, but the equaliser came early, and I think our second half was really good.
The equaliser, again, I mean, I've seen a few moves this season of that quality, that Xhaka pass, Mukiele, the move was just, again, perfection.
I think we are getting better in every phases. This one is probably one of the most difficult because you have to be so accurate, and it's not only 1 or 2 players. You have to combine the activity of 3, 4, 5 different players, and they did really well on that side. I think we created more chances as well today, which is positive.
And you must be pleased for Broby as well, who seemed to be getting no luck from the referee and finally got his moment and took it really, really well.
It was a fight against Lacroix, and it's tough to play against Brian Broby, I think, and for us it's very positive because we feel now that the players are really comfortable to play 2 feet in behind, and in the box is a massive threat, and with a little bit more confidence now you can score from everywhere.
That is the Sunderland head coach Regis Lebris talking after Sunderland's 2-1 win against Crystal Palace in the Premier League yesterday. The full interview is available to listen to on BBC Sounds. Just search for the Sunderland AFC podcast feed there, and you'll find all the Sunderland's post-match interviews and previews on that feed. To non-league, and yesterday Gateshead, they were beaten 2-0 by Rochelle. Gateshead remain bottom of the table, and after the game the Gateshead manager Rob Elliott spoke to Mark Carruthers.
Robert, feels strange coming away from a 2-0 defeat, still obviously sitting bottom of the league, feeling positive, but I get the feeling, not just from yourself but off the pitch as well, there is a feeling of positivity after that.
I hope so, because, yes, the 2-0 scoreline at the end, I think they catch us on the break, which is fine. I don't mind that, because I told the lads I'd rather win. I'd rather we went for the draw, went for the win, whatever the situation is. And if we concede off the back of it, that's on me. That's not on the lads. So proud of the lads. I thought, the first 20 minutes Rochdale started well, and the mentality to get through that period. And then I thought from probably like the end of the first half to the whole of the second half, I felt we were the better team. And to say that against Jim's team and that Rochdale side, Jim might disagree, but I think overall we were the better team, and I think their quality and their probably fitness in their players. We had a lot of players who hadn't played, and I think that showed a little bit. So just really proud and pleased, and it gives us a huge platform to move on from. That doesn't mean we're going to kick on now from that, because there's going to be a dip with Hartlepool. It'll be a different type of game, a bit of a derby, but we just have to take that momentum and that positivity into it.
Yeah, defeat for Gateshead yesterday, losing 2-0. That was the Gateshead manager, Rob Elliott. In National League North yesterday, South Shields, they beat Leamington 3-0. It was top of the table against Bottoming, and it finished how we expected. Let's hear from the South Shields manager, Ian Watson. He spoke to Sam Jones.
Really pleased with it, with the full day, really. I really liked how good we were in the counter press and how quick we regained the ball back, and then I really liked how well we moved the ball as well. So yeah, it was a good performance, and I think the scoreboard reflects that.
also a clean sheet to go with it. It was a joy to see such a dominant and composed performance. Was it important during that gap to keep them standards high behind closed doors?
Yeah, like we talk about it a lot, teams are going to have moments against you, then it's how you react in them moments and how you defend the moments, and we've got obviously a full group of players who are really passionate about keeping the ball out of our net and being really aggressive in their moments. So I thought as a whole, I think we keep the clean sheet because we have a lot of control on the game and we have most of the ball, but in any game the team are going to have certain moments and actions on goal, but I thought in them moments we reacted to them really well as a group, and I think that's why we keep a clean sheet. And yeah, it's testament to the boys and their attitude towards the game and their mentality as well.
Yeah, we saw the news that Pato was going to leave as well. Obviously he's moved on to pursue other matters away from football. You've brought in Mike Williamson, someone that you've worked with before. What can Mike bring to the club?
Everything. Mike's an incredible person, unbelievable football coach as well. Worked with him a lot when we were at Gateshead together, then obviously went to MK in Carlisle, and if you speak to any player who's played under Mike, they will speak so highly of him because he just wants to help and he wants to improve people off the pitch and he wants to help improve people on the pitch as well. So again, we're really lucky that he's agreed to come and help us for as long as possible. And yeah, as a football club, we're trying to build and we're trying to get stronger and we're trying to grow, and we really want to develop this football club and move it forward, and there's literally no one better in the world for me to come in than Mike to help with that.
Yeah, Mike Williamson, of course, the former Newcastle and Wolves defender there. He's the news broke late into this week about him going into South Shields. A good result for them yesterday. South Shields, they remain top of the table in the NPL Premier yesterday. Hebburn Town, they move up to second after a 1-0 win of Ashton United. Morpeth in Lincolnshire yesterday lost 1-0 against Trinity. And the East Division, Ashington, they lost 4-0 to Bradford Park Avenue at home. But Dunstan, they had a good result in a bit of a local derby. They were against Seton Stand. They won 3-1. In BBC Radio Newcastle's Liam Milburn spoke to the Dunstan manager, John McDonald.
3-1 win this afternoon for Dunstan. Obviously the early goal kind of set the tone for you. Do you think a good performance and a good 3 points, especially after disappointment through the week against Hallam?
That's right. We asked the lads for a fast start today, and I think we scored after 2 or 3 minutes. Heaton are a good side. Dean and Andy have got a good side there, but I thought overall we were worthy winners. I thought, to be fair, both teams had chances, but I thought overall we deserved to win the game.
Obviously this season you've been kind of in the playoff mix, and the last couple of years you've been like just ever so close but not quite there. Does that kind of motivate you this season to go one further and just get the job done?
Massively it does. I think we've came very, very close 2 years running, and we hope this year's our year, but there's a long way to go. I think what I would say is I think the league's more competitive. I think the top 8 sides in the league are really good sides. It's a tough division, but we've got that experience from the last 2 years, and hopefully that stands us in good stead.
And just a word on Jude Swales as well, set the tone from the off this afternoon. He's on 4 goals this season. You've got goals across the team. David Robinson's chipping in, Will Shaw's scored a hatful as well. How important is it to have those players across the team who are all contributing and all kind of going towards that main goal of getting promotion?
Massively important. We're delighted to have Jude back. He's had a problem with his knee and he's been out 3.5 months, but he's a massive asset for us in both boxes, and like you say, we've seen that after 2 or 3 minutes today, but I thought for his first full 90 minutes back he was excellent. With Michael Pearson came back today, but he can still feel his knee, so he had to come off. So we've been without 2 or 3 influential players. Josh Donaldson, hopefully he'll be back next week, but you're right, we've got goals from everywhere. We've got people who can score, which I think will be really important for us this year.
That is the Dunstan manager, John McDonald, there speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle's Liam Milburn. Elsewhere in the East Division yesterday, Concert picked up a point away from home to Newton Aycliffe, and 2 good results for both Blythe teams. Blythe Town beating North Ferriby 4-0, and Blythe Spartans beating Grimsby Borough 4-0 as well. So 2 good results for the 2 Blythe teams yesterday. In the FA Vars, North Shields, our last remaining team in the competition, they are through to the last 16 after a 2-0 away win at Chatterton. BBC Radio Newcastle's Paul Dixon was there.
Terrific performance, 2 wonderful goals by Brandon Slater, and the second one was a real bit special. If you get the chance to see it, use people listening, have a look. It was a wonderful goal. I'm sitting here with the manager of North Shields, Brian Smith. And Brian, how happy are you that you're in the last 16?
Oh, we're over the moon. we're desperate to win, to keep this run, keep on going, and we feel like we're getting better, but just magnificent. We deserved it today.
You certainly did deserve it. Yes, you played some wonderful football. And I think throughout the whole team, Brendan Slater has to be man of the match for 2 wonderful goals, but the rest of the team played some wonderful football and really got stuck in and defended for you.
They did the hard side of it, which they're all willing to do, and they were the edgy as anything. I think the edgiest team we've come across. Mouthy, little tricks, all the little tricks that you get dig up. But to be fair, our lads aren't bothered about that. They're quite happy to stand up to it and enjoy that side of the game. But yeah, we were the better team, and Slats, as you mentioned before, he's been superb today.
And the fans, there was about 150 of North Shields fans, really loved the club, and they got right behind you today, didn't they?
They did, all about 10, every single one of them, 10 pints deep, I think. Happy as Larry, but no, they were brilliant, and they are, and we just need to get more and more people there. Hopefully we're going to home draw, we'll get more and more people there, because it was excellent today, and you can't beat days like today.
I think that bus was rather lively on the way back to North Tyneside last night, but a good result for North Shields there on the draw, which takes place tomorrow. In the Women's FA Cup this weekend, not so good. Newcastle United losing 3-0 to West Ham on Friday night. Here is the Magpies defender, Gemma Purefield.
I think that shows the level, and we've got bits we can learn and tweak, and yeah, I think, you know, when they had their chances they punished us tonight, and that's unfortunate, but I think there was a lot of positives that we can look back and take as well. Everyone that's played a part today was very good, and I think we showed that we can go toe to toe at times with the WSL teams, and we'll just tweak the little bits that we need to and make sure that we keep improving.
And just lastly, you've said you've taken confidence from aspects of the performance. What aspects are those?
I think how we played with the ball at times around the back, playing through the third, some of the chances we did create were really good, and you know, we moved and caused them problems at time, and I think we were solid defensively as well and counter pressed quite well. So yeah, there is a lot of positives, and we'll look to take them into the Championship next week.
Yeah, meanwhile Sunderland, they lost as well yesterday to the London City Lionesses at Appleton. Here's the Sunderland head coach Mel Ray.
Thought we made it difficult for them. Thought we defended the area really well. We kept them out the box. We had to defend a lot of set pieces, and you know, unfortunately they outdid with one, which is disappointing. But you know, I think the positives we take from it is that they haven't scored against an open player, so you know, we have to take that as a real positive.
The Sunderland coach Mel Ray. There are a few other things to mention this weekend locally. In the Rugby Union, the Newcastle Red Bulls lost 35 points to 12 at the weekend. In the Rugby League, Newcastle Thunder's first game of the season is going well so far. They're against the Midlands Hurricanes on a 12 points to 14 up at half time there. And in basketball this weekend, on Friday night, the Newcastle Eagles, they lost in overtime to the Bristol Fires. The only other thing to mention going on this weekend is in the snooker and at the Masters. Again, in the Masters final at Alexandra Palace in London, John Higgins up against Karen Wilson. Karen Wilson is leading 3 frames to 1 at the break there, at the interval. It's time for us to head back to Molineux then for second half commentary against Wolves and against Newcastle in the company of Matthew Racebeck and John Anderson.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Racebeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Thanks very much, Dom. 0-0 at Molineux. Newcastle are here for the second half, out before Wolves, who should be along shortly. And home side return now, and it looks as though it's the same. Magpies 11. So no changes. That means it's Pope and a back four of Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Tonali, Joe Wellington. Barnes on the right, Gordon on the left, Voltamana centre forward. Magpies benches Ramsdale, Wissa, Ilanga, Willock, Alex Murphy, Ramsey, Shahar, Neve and Miley. Wolves, Jose Sarr in goal, Santiago Bueno, Krejci at the back. Across the middle, Chachua, Andre, João Gomez, Mane and Hugo Bueno, Aro Kadare and Hwang up front, and on the bench, Johnston the goalkeeper, Doherty, Moller Wolfer, Strand Larsen, Arias, Agbadou, Pedro Lima, Rodrigo Gomez and Fer Lopez. What needs to be better in the second half, John Anderson, if you could pick 2 or 3 things that...
I think the intensity of it needs to be better. We've had plenty of the ball, we've passed it well enough, but hasn't been a great deal of intent in it. Plus it's been too slow, the passing's been too slow, needs to be quicker. We need to get runners in behind as well. You know, need to get people breaking from midfield, get in behind. It's been... Wolves haven't been great. You know, they've sat in. we've made defending easy for them, to be quite honest.
And the blue and orange change kit. Newcastle shooting towards the goal to the left in this second half. There is a stoppage. The Wolves player has been caught by the ball.
Yeah.
Perhaps in a delicate area.
Yes, very. Just from a couple of yards as well.
And it's Mateus Mane. Been their best player, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, he looks a prospect, doesn't he?
He's okay, and the ball's back in play, and here are Newcastle across the back. Botman to Chow. Trippier looking for Barnes, manages to spin away from Bueno. And Joe Linton links up with Gordon, but it's taken off him by Chachua in the middle of midfield. Home side have it back. Andre stumbles next to the centre spot, manages to keep possession, however his pass is intercepted by Gordon. Onto Joe Linton, back to Bruno, and Newcastle trying to get forwards quickly. Bruno's ball's a decent one for Trippier to take on. Trippier's pass is behind Barnes.
Cross wires, wasn't it? One goes, the other thinks he's coming short.
Trippier's then made a challenge and stayed down in a heap. And it's Mane, and signalling to the bench that they need help for Kieran Trippier. He went into a tackle and now requires some treatment from the Newcastle physio who is coming on. Nil-nil on BBC Radio Newcastle. We're also on BBC Sounds today. So if you need to go out and about, you can continue to listen to us there wherever you are. The doctor has come sprinting on to the pitch. Kieran Trippier is on his back. Look at his knees bent, legs in the air. He's now sitting up. We don't know where the injury is, but Lewis Miley is warming up. It's a head injury. It's a cut, isn't it? Is it a cut around his eye? Forehead. Yeah, he's got a cut forehead, and they are trying to stop the bleeding, treating the wound. We're told that the boot of Mane caught Trippier in the face.
Yeah, I don't think there was nothing intentional about it.
The away fans who've been singing Kevin Keegan's name at times this afternoon now, the cry of Eddie Howe's Black and White Army. Players are keeping the ball moving, keeping themselves moving by passing the ball around. Nick Pope's joined some of his teammates. Long delay on a cold day, not as long as the VAR checked the other night. One of Eddie Howe's frustrations was that players were standing around on a freezing cold evening for 6 minutes waiting for that to be sorted out. Kieran Trippier has gone off the pitch on the far side, and they continue to treat that wound and the cut. Newcastle will have to play on for a short period without him, but they're not going to make a substitution, not yet anyway. Free kick to restart the match. Trippier wants to come on, but the referee tells him to wait. It's 30 seconds he has to stay off for. Nick Pope sends it long. We're now in the 51st minute. Joelinton helps it out wide. Hall sprinting to try to keep it in. He does, and he's done very well, Lewis Hall. Now it's Gordon. Foot on the ball. Back to Botman. Trippier still off. And Sven Botman's pass is back out to the near side to Anthony Gordon, who drops his shoulder, comes inside, then outside, back inside, and plays it back to Botman. Trippier has come back on with the permission of the referee. Hall to Bruno, tackled by Andre. Arakadare up ahead of him, and João Gomez on the outside right gets the ball, and a header over the top of the bar. Mosquera got up in front of the centre forward Arakadare and took it off him.
Yeah, he was probably better placed to go and head it, to be fair, because he's coming on to it.
Now Hall, a little bit of room as he approaches halfway and crosses the halfway line. On the outside to Gordon and carries on his run. Anthony Gordon inside towards Hall, but it was actually between Hall and Joelinton. Bruno wins it back edge of the area, but they can't keep it. And Wolves smack the clearance.
Dear oh dear, they're all over the place.
And it goes out for a throw at right back. Did you see that goal in League One yesterday?
When he hit it off his own defender's back.
Yeah, the goalkeeper. That wasn't quite the same, but that was a clearance that just smashed into, it was either Bruno or Tonali, and ball could have gone anywhere. Now that one yesterday in League One, have a look for it on social media if you haven't seen it yet. Goalkeeper kicking from his hands, smacked it against the back of the defender, and it flew straight in. Wonder what the XG for that one was. Here's a deep, high, hanging cross from Wolves that Hwang tried to bring down. Botman was there, and Hwang pulled out of the challenge, and Newcastle clear it on halfway.
Yeah, he did. He didn't fancy it, did he?
Wolves throw.
Took his eye off it.
In between the two dugouts. And they're actual dugouts, aren't they, here? Because they sink
built into the ground.
Yeah, to the ground with the covered benches. And big technical area in front leading to the pitch. Across midfield, Wolves. That's a risky pass. Tonali's onto it, but his touch, unfortunately, allowed Wolves the chance to get it back by clearing. Still goalless. This is a match that went through a spell of finishing 1-1 this fixture. And in all 10 previous Premier League meetings here, both teams have scored in the games at Molineux. But when we were talking earlier, as Lewis Hall wins a throw in Newcastle's half, I cannot remember Newcastle playing well here, and I can't really remember a particularly entertaining game. Can you?
No, I can't remember a decent game between these two sides.
This one, it's just more of the same really in this fixture. But here's Barnes. This is a good run. This is exciting. Joelinton wanted it edge of the area. He tried to slip it through, but it's cleared and comes over to the near touchline. Hall trying to let it go for a throw, and it has. Bang on halfway. 3,000 away fans here. 29,751 is the attendance. So a pretty good effort from the Wolves fans. Only 3,000 empty seats, something like that. Played almost 10 minutes in the second half, but not actually had 10 minutes of football, with Trippier getting treatment for the cut. But he's continuing. Newcastle have Elanga warming up, Ramsey as well. Trippier gets the ball, plays it first time to Barnes. Now back up the line for Trippier. Bruno comes over to help out near to the far touchline. They're going backwards here towards halfway, and Chow inside to Botman. And Chow again. That's a decent ball to Tonali, but he's been dispossessed and brought forwards well by Krejci, the left centre-back. Oh, he's overhit the pass out to Mane. And it's a Newcastle throw. Good steal. Decent run
Then he gives it away.
And the wrong ball. Although Mane seemed to give up on it a little bit, didn't he? Trippier can't get it in behind for Barnes, has to go square to Tonali. And Hall on his thigh, then bringing it up towards the edge of the box. The run from Bruno on to Joelinton, back to Bruno, and then Joelinton again. Gordon inside to Hall. Decent enough position, United, and they've got numbers forwards, but Wolves have got everybody back. Gordon sidesteps his man, deep cross looking for Voltemada. It's come off his head and gone away from goal. And Voltemada in the middle, and Barnes and Tonali behind him, and they made runs in towards goal. Wolves started to bring it clear. Now they've gone back to goalkeeper Jose Sarr. The Portuguese international, long.
Great header.
Lewis Hall, great leap and a big win there. And Gordon gets on the ball, but is dispossessed. He can't believe he hasn't been given a free kick. Wolves have given it away to Lewis Hall, who has won a throw, but has been caught by Chachua in the challenge. Hall's okay though. Picks himself up.
Yeah, it's been more the same at the start of this second half, hasn't it? Stop-start. Neither side really able to keep it.
It was João Gomez who caught Hall with a bit of a limp. He's back in the game. Barnes cuts inside, keeps hold of it, back to Chow, then straight to Barnes again. Trippier just up the line, gets it from Barnes' ball. Square to Tonali, blocked. Tried to play the first time through ball for Barnes. Tonali having a good pull at Andre. It's a free kick, and it might be a yellow card for Tonali. It is. Foul on halfway. Sandro Tonali booked. He had a couple of goes there at Andre. Referee tried to let it run, but yellow cards felt inevitable. Not many Newcastle.
Just frustration, isn't it?
They've decided to send their three centre-backs forwards. Mosquera, Santiago Bueno and Krejci. João Gomez slips and it's headed away by Chow, edge of the area. Chachua to João Gomez, and now back to Andre here at the centre circle. Has to play it to the goalkeeper. Barnes was putting pressure on. Jose Sarr, oh, he's delayed the pass and then given it to Lewis Hall on halfway. Can Newcastle take advantage? Hall to Gordon, and Hall, as he tried to get the return ball, was impeded. The whistle's gone. Mosquera with the foul. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, causing their own problems, aren't they?
One win here for Wolves against West Ham, and a 1-1 draw with Brighton in October. They lost 8 of their 10 Premier League home matches this season before today, but they won 6-1 in the FA Cup against Shrewsbury, who are near the bottom of League 2, and then got Grimsby of League 2 in the next round. They'll be happy enough, Wolves. Newcastle had a lot of the ball. Haven't worked the goalkeeper. Hall into the box.
Still haven't.
Well, they found him there, but it's an easy take from a floated ball in from Lewis Hall. Oh, Jose Sarr, it's not the best kick out, and it's come to Bruno just ahead of centre circle. Bruno holding off João Gomez, looking to play it into Barnes. It's blocked. Bruno tries to win it back, edge of the area. Tonali blocked in the middle. Well, they still can't force a save, but they've got it back again. Trippier to Barnes, who digs out a cross, which is stabbed clear, and then Tonali wins it back. Could have been fouled. Referee says play on. It's lifted in for Voltemada, headed across the box towards
offside.
Gordon. Voltemada's offside. It wasn't an attempt on goal from the German. It was a ball that he helped on towards Gordon, but he was offside, and it was cleared anyway. Well, that raised the excitement levels for a few seconds.
Did it?
And now there's a dip again.
You got excited.
Well,
Jose Sarr.
He didn't.
His kicking's not great, is it?
He's played it out short there. Andre gets it, plays it in behind. Botman was following it, and Pope came out of his goal to clear. Well communicated and well defended. Still goalless. It's Bruno tried to wrestle Mane to the floor, didn't get the ball, and the Wolves youngster got straight back up and has brought it forwards. And now it's Chachua. Trippier got in a good position to flick away, but they haven't cleared it properly. João Gomez, edge of the area, left side. Krejci to Hugo Bueno. Hugo Bueno, good cross. Malik Chow, important header clear. We're looking for big Aro Kadare. I think Strand Larsen's going to come on in a moment. Mosquera blocked by Joelinton. Tonali away, but that's not to anybody in Newcastle blue, and it's back to Jose Sarr, Wissa, Ramsey, Elanga. Willock warming up for United. Miley's still out there as well. Here's Hwang, quite deep Hwang, and it's not the best ball over Newcastle defenders. It's picked up by Pope, rolled out to Chow. 62 minutes. 0-0.
Yeah, not a great deal's happened in this second half either.
Hall to Gordon. He stood off.
Go on, have a go at him. Go on.
Gordon is going to run. Joelinton for support, corner of the area, back to Gordon, tackled by João Gomez. Joelinton to Bruno, plays it infield to Chow, centre circle. Chow cuts inside away from Mane, and then plays it short to Tonali. It's slightly behind Trippier, out on the right, then up to Barnes. Plenty of movement here for United. Barnes to Bruno, first time cross. Joelinton, and away head off the defender and behind for a corner.
Great. No, he's given the goal kick.
No, they have given corner. Referee Sam Barrett signals corner.
Linesman gave a goal kick.
Joelinton flung himself at it.
Good defending, wasn't it?
Cross.
Good header.
It's Chachua, isn't it? Corner on the right for United. Lewis Hall to take. There you had somebody from midfield getting into the box.
Yeah, hasn't happened too many times, has it?
Here comes Hall's corner. Packed 6-yard box. It's towards the near post and volleyed away by the first defender. Trippier, lovely cushion pass back in for Tonali. Wolves header, Botman round the back. Spilled by Jose Sarr, but then there's an offside flag anyway. And Sarr had gathered at the second time of asking. Jurgen Strand Larsen is coming on for Tolu Arakadare. Straight swap. And you just have to hope that after João Pedro and Hugo Ekitike goals against Newcastle this season, although Benjamin Šeško didn't score against them for Man United, that Jurgen Strand Larsen is not the latest player Newcastle attempted to sign in the summer that causes them some pain in the Premier League. He's never been one that you felt was worth the money or justified the hype. He's not had a great season for Wolves, but he did find a hat-trick in the FA Cup last week. But he didn't impress you when you saw him last year.
No, every time I've seen him against us, I've never gone, he's a good player, him.
Chested from Bruno. Wolves fans appeal for a free kick, but they don't get it. There's Andre, good header, and away from Tonali. Strand Larsen with a layoff back to Andre and Hugo Bueno. It's a competitive game, and we're about to see the introduction of Johan Wissa, Anthony Elanga and Lewis Miley. Midway through the second half, BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sounds. Hwang, who's playing as an extra midfielder, really so deep. They try and roll it in behind Hall, but he had his eyes on the situation, alert defending. Hall brings it away, then wins a free kick. He was tripped. Great play by Lewis Hall, who's had another good game, another fine performance. Here's the triple change from Eddie Howe.
Valdemada,
Gordon
and Trippier.
That would be my expectation, unless he takes a midfielder off, does something different. Well, it's Tonali for Miley, so that is something different. What do we know? Anthony Gordon replaced by Anthony Elanga, and Wissa is on for Baltimore. Three changes. Trippier stays on. Well, plenty of experience and leadership from Trippier. As usual, Miley into midfield. Might drop deeper later if they bring Ramsey and or Willock on. Elanga right wing. Barnes has come to the left. And Wissa up top. Miley's first touch out on the far side. Back to Trippier. Hopefully the subs will help change it. Did hear last season when they were trailing at half time and got the 2 late goals to win. Defending here because Trippier and Miley between them played the ball out, and yes, and Mosquera has gone over to the far side. Wolves attacking the goal to the right to take a long throw, which he angles in towards the corner of the 6-yard box, away by Joelinton. Wissa onto it, tackled by Mosquera. A wild swing at the ball, and it's behind.
He just lashed at it, didn't he?
Miley receives it, finding Wissa, brings it back. Moved quickly with it. Played it to Chow. Hall from Botman's pass. Lewis Hall turns. Got away.
Great turn. Well played, young man.
He's had a really strong second half. Lewis Hall still going. Carries on his run. It's outnumbered Hall. Tried to turn inside. He's been stopped eventually. It took 2 of them. And Hall got Newcastle up the pitch there. Chow, good defending, holding off Mane. Back to Pope. Trippier's available. It's into the feet of Kieran Trippier, middle of Newcastle's half. Heading towards the final 20 minutes here. Like last season, they'll need to win it late. This is Bruno for Elanga into the penalty area and out wide, out to the touchline. Elanga, he's kept it in. Found a ball back to Miley. Now Bruno. And inviting for Elanga again. First time cross. It's a good ball. Into the 6-yard box, back post, and Wolves head up behind.
Better. Good ball, wasn't it? Bit of pace on it.
Poor Valdemada's gone off, and he probably would have loved a cross like that because it was close to goal. He would have been in there. Wissa was just a yard or so back on the 6-yard line. The corner to be taken by Kieran Trippier on the left towards the back of the box.
Yeah.
But stopped on its way by Wolves, and actually the whistle's gone. Didn't go near post with it. Was trying to get it deep. There was a header in the middle actually. And I don't know what the referee saw, but it was enough for the home side to be awarded a free kick. Coming on shortly for them, John Arias, the Colombian midfielder, who was left out of the team today. Short from goalkeeper Jose Sarr. Ladislav Krejci, long ball. Malik Chow giving himself a couple of yards, comes over to head it. Trippier trying to keep it in, but Hwang's got there first and he's nodded it out. Now comes the change. Arias for João Gomez, who some expect to go to Atletico Madrid. That's good applause. It's not waving goodbye.
Doesn't look too happy, does he?
Brazilian international midfielder. Off he comes, and Arias with short sleeves and gloves skips onto the pitch. Might be more of an attacking change by Rob Edwards. You've got Strand Larsen up top now, following the earlier substitution. Newcastle with a triple change in the second half, still looking for a goal to get in front for the opener this afternoon. Malik Chow back to Sven Botman. Hall makes himself available behind halfway, out to Joelinton, holds it up, then drags it back and plays it forward to Lewis Hall. It's good play inside now for Miley, just outside the area, on to Trippier, back inside to Bruno, edge of the box. Bruno wide to Trippier towards the corner. Miley along the goal line, receives it, plays it back to Trippier. He lifts it in, Wolves head clear. Brought down by Bruno, could he hit it? Tried to thread it through, it almost reached Wissa. Then Bruno blocks the clearance, they've got it back, United. Scooped up, but away from Elanga, he was never getting there. It's a goal kick.
Yet again, they get themselves in 6s and 7s, Wolves. Nobody wants to take control of the situation. In the end, he just lashes it. Hits Bruno. Tries to just lift one, dink one over the top for Elanga. But as I said, that rain gets into the ground, makes it really skiddy. It's just going to skid away.
At this stage, John Anderson, do you see them winning it? 18 minutes to play.
You think one goal's going to win it, that's for sure.
Miley to Hall, and that's a ball into space. Trippier was on his bike and gets there. Well played up the line to Wissa, who's gone out wide with Elanga in the middle. Wissa back to Trippier, lifted up, flag stays down. Elanga's brought it down, found Wissa. Decent enough attack here from United. Miley to Elanga for Wissa again, tried to return it, it's intercepted. Hugo Bueno clears. Strand Larsen not getting there. Well held by Chow and Botman to Pope, and Hall comes back to get it from the goalkeeper, plays it inside first time to Botman. Strand Larsen chasing passes between defenders as Newcastle now go into the Wolves half. Miley tries to turn inside to Bruno, just in front of the centre circle. Hall in space on the near left side. Barnes is available as well. Lewis Hall digs out a cross. Elanga looking for it, headed behind. Wolves want a free kick. They've got a player down off the pitch, but corner is the decision. Hugo Bueno there with Elanga. Did Elanga do anything wrong?
No. Two players going for the ball.
The Wolves coaching staff complaining to the fourth official. There was some contact. Elanga's rubbing his head, but he stayed up. Will be the perfect time and perfect way for Elanga to get off the mark in a Newcastle shirt, or help to create something significant after a tough week for him the other night.
They're all going down now.
Andre goes down, saying he was pushed by Johan Wissa, which might well have been the case, but he didn't need much encouragement.
No, he didn't need much encouragement to fall over at all.
The corner will be taken at some point. 15 to play on BBC Radio Newcastle. Outswinger Trippier, looks like a decent one. It's headed up. Wolves trying to clear. Andre to the near side. Hugo Bueno. Wissa's made a challenge on him, and the throw goes Newcastle's way next to the corner. Wissa takes it immediately. Wolves weren't ready. Joelinton back to Hall on the left wing. Hall to Wissa, edge of the box, crosses it towards Elanga, headed away. Barnes brings it down and goes out wide right. Leaves it for Elanga. He finds Bruno, who flicks it through for Barnes. The cross from Barnes, no one gets a touch. Wissa back post, threw himself at it. Players in the middle had just missed it. Nice move, lovely flick from Bruno, and the run and first time cross from Barnes fired in. Chow, Botman and Wissa all in net.
But players aren't busting a gut to get across that 6-yard box. They're ambling in there.
The two defenders in the middle didn't really go for it, whereas Wissa was back post and stuck his leg out, but didn't really get that close to it in truth. That's a Wolves throw on halfway. Botman let it run thinking it was Newcastle's. Jason Tyndall shouts something at the assistant referee. Going to be another Wolves substitution shortly. Still 0-0. Total Sport back tomorrow, every weeknight from 6 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds, where you can catch up on any shows you've missed. Here's Strand Larsen, and looking for Mateus Mane, who got away from Trippier, but Newcastle cleared just in the nick of time in the penalty box. And it was Chow. Good covering. Ball floated up to the edge of the area. Botman to Joelinton. Now Bruno back towards Joelinton. Inside for Barnes. Now it opens up nicely. Barnes over halfway. Elanga and Wissa with him. Miley to the right. Barnes still going. He's been tackled, but has come to Miley. Referee's given the free kick. Could have let the advantage play for United, but decided to stop it and has shown a yellow card for the challenge. Yerson Mosquera. Miley was about to cross it for Wissa, who'd peeled off the last defender, back post. Well, free kick. Maybe they would have preferred the advantage, and it looks as though the defender got a large slice of the ball.
A large slice of it? He's got to hold the ball.
Good wedge of the ball there. Yeah. Sam Barrett getting some stick from the Wolves fans. Free kick is, they had one in the first half that was possibly a bit further out towards a wide area. This one's a bit more central, but it is still nearly 10 yards back from the edge of the area. The Wolves wall is just inside the box. Trippier and Hall stand by it. The last one they played something clever and found a cross into the box. And it was met by Voltemada, wasn't it, that one? Why doesn't Lewis Hall just have a crack and have a try?
Set up nicely for him, isn't it?
He's had a great second half. He's playing so well at the moment. Confident run of form. Big Wolves wall there. Jose Sarr in the middle of his goal. Trippier could hit it with his right. Trippier does hit it.
Oh.
Side netting on the outside.
I thought that was in. It's hit the outside of the net, and I thought it's hit the inside. It's a great effort.
Not a lot of backlift from Trippier. Didn't have much of a run up to the ball. Got it up and curled it towards the top corner. Clipped the outside of the goal, the side netting. From our angle on the other side, the opposite side of the pitch, it looked like it might have gone in. I can't remember a direct free kick being scored by Newcastle since Kieran Trippier's against Manchester City, August 2022. Here's Joelinton. Barnes trying to run in behind. Chachua with his speed.
Oh, he's a bit quick, isn't he?
Back to the goalkeeper. Joelinton with the ball, almost released Barnes one-on-one. Newcastle, who are looking by far the more likely team to win the match at this point. Elanga on the outside. Elanga, it's too high, the cross, but Hall's trying to keep it in, and he has done, and he's got away from Chachua, who recovers, wins it back for Wolves. Joelinton stopping the break up the near touchline. Arias inside to Andre. And over it goes to Hugo Bueno. on halfway. And Krejci, big diagonal ball onto the chest of Arias. Perfectly measured that ball in. Arias's cross is lifted up and out of the box by Chow, and it'll go for a throw. 35 yards from Newcastle's goal, taken by Arias and Mosquera. Inside to Andre. It's still 0-0 away against the team bottom of the Premier League. Last time they lost to Wolves was 5 days before the takeover. Here's Bueno, Hugo Bueno's cross. Lewis Hall knew that he had Chechua behind him, decided to put it out for a corner, didn't take any risks.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Eight and a half minutes of normal time still to be played. And the Wolves corner from Hugo Bueno. His left foot from the near right hand side. Elanga heads clear from 6 yards out. He was the first defender. Another Wolverhampton Wanderers change about to be made. I think it's Rodrigo Gomez, the winger or wing back. Yes, and Mosquera has an issue with his sock.
Shin pad
rather.
Yeah.
The fourth official is...
Wasn't the biggest shin pad in the world.
They're tiny now, aren't they?
Wouldn't be much protection in that.
Mosquera's throw helped on by Wolves. Bruno down on his chest in the box, comes out to the touchline. Strand Larsen blocks the clearance. It's a goal kick. There's a second
two balls on the pitch.
On the pitch. Ball boy goes to get it. Nick Pope restarts the match. Trippier gets it from Chow. And it's hammered up the line by Chow, on by Miley. Elanga is fouled by Krejci. Referee telling Wolves players to retreat and not to delay the restart. Botman for Barnes. Joelinton goes on the outside, up the line to Hall. It's opened up again for United. Joelinton gets the ball back from Hall. Here's Barnes, lets it run for Wissa. And a defender comes across and takes it off the toe of Johan Wissa, edge of the area. The Wolves clearance chested down by Hall. He tries to hold off Strand Larsen and wins a free kick because that's a foul by the Norwegian centre forward. And that's what the Wolves fans think of the decision.
He's whistle happy, that's for sure.
Well,
it is a free kick.
It is a free kick, yeah. Just watching it again. Trippier will take the set piece in the 85th minute. No goals yet. Curling ball in by Trippier. Headed down, and it comes to Bruno on the turn, spilled by the keeper. Joelinton caught by Jose Sarr in the centre of the goal. The header from Joelinton on the follow-up after Bruno's shot was parried away. Mateus Mane here trying to go on the outside of Hall on the counter-attack. Lewis Hall between man and ball wins a free kick as Mane fouls him, and it's an easy decision for the referee despite the jeers from the home fans. And the change sees Rodrigo Gomez come on for Hwang Hee-chan. Lewis Hall has put in another energetic performance.
Yeah, he's been excellent again, hasn't he? First class.
And Jose Sarr forced into some saves for the first time. Bruno, bouncing ball that he hit across goal, and Joelinton's follow-up header. He couldn't generate the power, never mind the direction.
No. He just palms Bruno's shot away and then gets lucky with the header.
The boozer for Lewis Hall, who plays it up the line for Barnes, who spins away from Mosquera. Barnes cross, put out. It's gone for a corner rather than throw. They are finding gaps, they're getting into positions. Barnes got away from Mosquera. Wissa was in a deep position. You'd think that Wissa would be up with the play and ready to get on the end of that. It was Elanga coming in back post that Barnes was aiming it towards. Corner on the left. Let's see what they can do with this one. Trippier's delivery. Headed over by Joelinton in front of the goalkeeper.
Just needed a touch, didn't it? Got too much on it.
Beg your pardon, it was Bruno who took the corner. Chow was there and Joelinton in front of him. Got up.
Got too much on it.
Just needed something delicate, didn't it, when it was... Yeah, it was a big connection to lift the ball up and over the top of the bar. Climbed well, just got too much on the header. Newcastle win a header in midfield. Joelinton here, over the top. Wissa trying to run onto it. Chachua's there. Wissa forcing him to clear.
Offside.
The flag's gone up now.
Yeah, he was as well.
They have scored late goals here. Alan Saint-Maximin, you might remember a volley.
A volley, yeah.
To get them a point a few seasons ago. Obviously the two last season were 75 and 80 minutes, Share and Barnes. Conceded a controversial equaliser here when Rafa Benitez was in charge in 2019, but they need to score late. They're 0-0 level with the side bottom of the table who have only one win, and it's a sort of match they've got to be winning. Lewis Hall still getting booed. Will go up a place to 8th, above Sunderland on goal difference, but below Brentford on goals scored if it stays level. Bruno Guimaraes for Lewis Hall. Barnes gets it. Inside to Bruno. Away from Strand Larsen.
Oh.
Bruno feeds Hall. First time cross. Wissa tried to bring it down. He did, but only for a Wolves player. And Rodrigo Gomez runs it forwards through the middle of Newcastle. Botman's challenge. I thought he got the ball, but he's getting a yellow card. He doesn't complain. The quality in the final third has not been there all afternoon.
No, it has not.
And just over a minute of normal time to play. Wissa's touch presented it to Mane, and Rodrigo Gomez just kept running. Botman came across him, and free kick was given. It's ahead of the centre circle, central position. Hugo Bueno in straight to Joelinton, but his header is away from Barnes and is collected by Arias. Now Mane. Andre blocked by Elanga, but it's run nicely for Arias. And Mane on it again, right wing, 15 yards out. Left-footed cross, high cross to the back post. Stopped by Pope by his post, and it got behind anyway. And in 15 seconds time, fourth official Simon Hooper will present the numbers board. I think it would be more than 5 after the treatment for Trippier. Could be 7 or 8. Newcastle might need all of that time to try and get a winning goal. 6 minutes.
6 minutes added time. 6.
Barnes up the line to Joelinton. Forwards he goes to Hall, back to Barnes. The space on the far side, it's where it goes. Floated over to Trippier, brought down. And he drives across in, looking for Joe Linton, who heads it down, Hall edge of the area, outnumbered. And Wolves come away with it. A charging run from Mosquera from one penalty box to the other. Here's Strand Larsen, blocked by Chow. It's a corner. Back they all come. Wissa, Elanga, Joelinton. Wolves fans have got a bit of belief now in this game and perhaps faintly in their relegation battle, but if they were to score here, it would be a big shot in the arm for them and it would be a disaster for Newcastle. 0-0 in the second of 6 additional minutes. Hugo Bueno's corner. Joelinton, good climb and a header that goes out on the far side for another Wolves set piece. There are a couple of players down, referee's whistle's gone. Lewis Hall's tying his bootlace.
Taking his boot off.
Now ready to play again. The corner from the Wolves left, the far side. Flat. And Bruno Guimaraes volleys clear. Anthony Elanga sprints after it. And it's played back to the goalkeeper. Elanga keeps going. Newcastle push up to the middle of their half. Jose Sarr's long kick. Lewis Miley gets there, Bruno trying to win it, and he has, and now Wissa for Elanga to try to get after, but it wasn't the best ball for Elanga, and he manages to charge down a clearance to at least stop Wolves going up the other end. Just hasn't happened today.
No.
Getting on for 3 minutes of the 6 that was displayed on the numbers board. Late goals have been a thing recently. Bruno scored in added on time, didn't he, at Burnley. And obviously Bournemouth, Leeds and the Manchester City. Those matches all had late goals. Wolves win a free kick on halfway. Andre was pulled to the floor. If Wolves go down, they will not miss this place. It's a journey that drags and drags if you are driving.
Yeah.
Train's not the quickest either. You have to change it, Birmingham or Manchester. But their record here, not really the best, and it's always a drab affair, isn't it, the game? And this has been another one. They've got just over 2 minutes to nick it. Joelinton and Barnes dispossess the teenager Mateus Mane. Elanga up the near side, played up to him by Barnes. Not got a lot of room to work in, but he's got the pace to get away from Krejci and pulls it back here. Bruno Guimaraes goes down, nothing given. Referee straight away says no foul. Botman there winning a challenge on Strand Larsen. Nothing given for Wolves. Here can Newcastle get back up towards the Wolves penalty box. It's with Joelinton into the area for Bruno, who spins and then crosses. It's deflected. It's come out to the left wing for Elanga. Less than 2 minutes remaining. Elanga's cross is blocked and Elanga chases after the ball and wins it back for United. He's done well. Bruno lifts it away from an opponent and is then fouled by Andre, who's going to get booked.
How stupid is that?
A minute and 15 seconds of the 6 minutes to go. Can they nick it late? The free kick from Trippier. Jose Sarr's barely had anything to do. A double save from Bruno and Joelinton, but comfortable saves. Just need one good ball in. don't they, to cause problems. Trippier floats.
He's gone round the back.
Looking for Botman, headed away. It didn't reach Botman. Hall gets it back for United, and it's with Trippier just in front of halfway. 40 seconds remaining. Trippier looking for Chow. Headed down. Bruno wide. Bruno controlled it on his thigh and then off the outside of his right boot, put it wide of the near side of goal. And that might be their chance to win it. He had space as well, and he just didn't catch the effort properly.
No, I didn't get hold of it, did he?
We've almost had the full 6 minutes. Been a couple of stoppages. Referee looks at his watch. He's had enough. And Wolves against Newcastle United finishes goalless. And it's a bad result, really, for a team that's trying to get up into the European places and that have been as high as 6th recently. They've gone back up to 8th. Wolves are 5 unbeaten, but they're heading for the Championship, and Newcastle United have failed to win back-to-back away games. They've failed to make it 4 Premier League victories in a row for the first time this season. They didn't play well enough. It was just not an enjoyable 90 minutes, John Anderson, but it's a result that will not be particularly well received, and I think they'll get a lot of criticism for this today.
Well, it didn't do enough to win it. Didn't create enough chances. Didn't work the goalkeeper enough. Final ball let us down. You can't say that they didn't try and they didn't have a go. They did. It was just a lack of quality in the final third of the pitch. Wolves worked hard. They made life difficult for us, but at the end of the 96 minutes, we just didn't do enough in that period of time to get anything out of the game.
Players are going to the far side to applaud the Newcastle away supporters, 3,000 of them that made it to Molineux. Wolves 14 points from safety with 16 matches remaining. It's a missed opportunity, isn't it? When you look at what's
big
to
missed
come,
opportunity, yeah.
Fixtures that look far more difficult, and yes, they've won many big games even this season, so we're not saying they won't get points from those, but bottom of the table away from home, surely.
Yeah, against a Wolves side that are struggling and are heading for the Championship, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Wolves worked their socks off. They worked really, really hard. They closed us down. They made life difficult for us. But we just didn't do enough. The lack of quality in that final third of the pitch, or decision making in the final third of the pitch, just wasn't there today.
I don't know. I said earlier, I asked you if they were lacking ideas. It feels like there's not a lot of creativity. And they were having to go side to side, and Wolves might have found that okay to defend against. They did get in a couple of times, but do they have the ability just to do something different? I feel like they lack that sort of player.
Very one-dimensional, isn't it?
Who can maybe just from a central area make something happen.
Who can just open that door, who can just unlock that. In tight games like this, have you got somebody who's going to just do something that's a little bit different? And we didn't have that today. As I say, worked our socks off, worked hard, but just didn't create enough. Didn't look like we were ever going to score. The longer it went on, you always felt that one goal would win it. But you just never seen that goal coming, to be quite honest, because we never did enough. We never created enough. Both keepers have had a pretty quiet afternoon. I'm not too sure what it looked like on telly, but it wasn't one you'd be recording and wanting to watch again, was it?
No. Next fixtures, PSV in the Champions League, Villa at home, PSG away, Liverpool away, Man City away. It's a tough run.
Yeah, they don't get any easier.
Look, next month, and Spurs away too.
All these games, they take the toll, and there's not a great deal of rotation going on either, Razor. He's relying heavily on the same 12, 13 players all the time. And with the amount of games they're playing in such a short space of time, fatigue sets in, not just physical fatigue but mental fatigue as well, you know, and I think we've seen a little bit of that today. You know, as I say, I thought we had a go, we tried hard. You couldn't say that determination and that will wasn't there. It was. We just lacked that final little bit of quality in the last third of the pitch.
And maybe it shows where they are when you talk about that lack of quality. And also, he made 4 changes today, but how reliant he is on a core of players.
Yeah.
These are things that they obviously need to fix, and clearly they are not maybe where they were in terms of Premier League in the last few years. And they're going to have to find a way through this and make some changes, because those things are missing, and they need to add them, whether
and look,
more players or different profile players.
Yeah, and look, it's not getting any easier either, you know, with the intensity of the games, with the opposition that we've got coming up between now and the end of February.
Total Sport on BBC Radio Newcastle tomorrow night from 6 with reaction to this, and you can phone in and talk to John Anderson, have your say on the game. We'll have reaction to Sunderland's win yesterday on Total Sport. You can listen on BBC Sounds, search for Total Sport North East, and on BBC Sounds tonight look for Newcastle United and get reaction from Eddie Howe as his side leave Molineux with a point, a goalless draw against bottom of the table Wolves.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle. On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Newcastle.
and on your radio.
The sound of the North East is BBC Radio Newcastle.
BBC News at 4 o'clock. This is Matthew Carter. The UK and 7 other European countries threatened with tariffs by Donald Trump because of their defiance of his plans to take Greenland from Denmark have issued a statement. They say the move would risk a dangerous downward spiral. The French President Emmanuel Macron has suggested the EU prepares retaliatory measures. John Bolton was a national security advisor during President Trump's first term, though the two have since fallen out.
He is so limited in his thinking that he's gotten this obsession with taking control of Greenland and doesn't care about the ramifications of what he does or says on anything else. If Trump continues down this line, I really believe that dissent within the Republican Party in Congress, which has been muted for the first year, to be polite about it, will not be muted anymore.
A man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a woman was found injured in a street in Norfolk. Police were called to the road near Norwich late last night, where they found a woman in her 40s. She was declared dead at the scene. A man in his 60s has been arrested. Firefighters in Pakistan are still trying to extinguish a massive fire that broke out overnight in one of Karachi's most popular shopping centres. At least 6 people are confirmed dead, including 1 firefighter. 34 people have been reported missing by their families. Caroline Davis is in the capital, Islamabad.
There's regular concerns brought up about fire issues in a lot of these buildings, particularly by the sort of fire agencies that operate. There are 30 fire stations in the city of Karachi for a population of around 20 million. There have previously been criticisms about the need to be able to modernise the fire services as well. We don't know what is behind this particular incident, but of course there will be questions after this.
Police are investigating after racist graffiti was sprayed on Edinburgh's Central Mosque. The building is thought to have been targeted with hate messages on Friday night. A spokesperson for the mosque said they were deeply saddened and concerned by the incident. Work is underway to restore water supplies to homes in the Maidstone area of Kent because of an electrical fault at a treatment works. 4,500 properties were affected earlier. It's the latest problem to affect South East Water customers after days of disruption earlier this week. Thousands of bags of uncooked chips have washed up on a beach near Eastbourne in Sussex. Food items have been coming ashore after 16 containers fell from a cargo vessel off the Isle of Wight last month. Adam Gocher reports.
Chips at the seaside are a time-honoured tradition. That is, eating them or maybe losing some to a seagull, not wading through thousands of them, at times more than 2 feet deep. One man described the beach as looking like the Caribbean Golden Sands. And while it was a sight to see, locals say the plastic bags the chips come in pose a danger to a nearby seal colony. So volunteers have headed down to the beach to help clear up. The bad news for them, their chips might be a bit too salty.
And that's the BBC News. It's 4:03.
I'm Fiona McKinnon with the latest travel news. Taking a look at the roads first of all. In Cheshire, the M62 is partly blocked eastbound from Junction 8 at Warrington West to Junction 9 at Winwick. That's following a recent vehicle fire. Still watch out for delays on the M62 eastbound. In Staffordshire, the M6 has 3 lanes closed southbound from Junction 13 at Stafford South to Junction 12 at the A5 interchange. That's following a collision. Currently all traffic is being held apart from that one lane. Very, very slow on the approach to that. And West Midlands, we've got delays for the M6. That's restricted southbound at Junction 10, the Wolverhampton Walsall interchange after breakdown. And in Walsall, the A461 Lichfield Road is currently closed northbound from Harper Road to Station Road after an accident. Now to Northamptonshire and Towcester, the A43 is just reopened northbound at Brackley Road, but still rather slow after collision. And in central London, watch out for delays and rolling road closures. There's a planned protest in March. Whitehall remains closed, and there's currently a rolling road block on Cockspur Street and Trafalgar Square. Over 10 bus routes are curtailed until 6, including routes 24 and the 87. Taking a look at the trains now, we've got delays and cancellations for cross country in GWR between Exeter, St David's and Paignton after points failure. And there's disruption for East Midlands Railway and Thameslink between Luton and St Pancras International. That's following the theft of signalling cables. Fiona McKinnon, BBC Local.
The Make a Difference Show with Gabby Roslin.
I just love doing it, and when I'm counting the money at the end of the day, it just gives me that boost to carry on.
They build our community, they are our community, and that's what makes us feel special.
Hi, this is Brian Adams. Thanks for making a difference.
The Make a Difference Show with Gabby Roslin.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's Sunday the 18th of January. In this hour, we're going to be speaking to one of the stars of Heartstopper on Netflix, and we're going to be talking about the TV and films that you cannot afford to miss. And I cannot wait to tell you about an absolutely incredible film that's out now to watch. I'm absolutely obsessed with it.